Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 7 of the Downunder Series V8 Supercar Championship, here this time from Townsville in Queensland for the first endurance event of the season. So we'll be having a 90-minute race and also a top 10 qualifying shootout following this session, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. My name is David Buckley, and joined as ever by Matthew Sanderson. Say hello, Matt.
Yeah, thank you very much for the intro, Dave. Good to be back here for the V8 Supercar Championship. I'm really looking to this one. We love our endurance racing here at CFS, and it'll be interesting to see what the teams are bringing forward in terms of strategy. And we know that they've got the soft compound tyres, and it's going to be important to look after those. So yeah, really interesting to see how this moves forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we said, the first endurance event of the season, going to be maybe a 3-stop race. They've got about 21 laps of fuel to get them by. We're just joining us at the beginning of qualifying here. Everyone's just setting their first laps here. Current pole setter Daniel Optisano at 1 minute 8.148. Championship leader Wayne Walker coming across the line, not really setting a representative lap time. Yeah, there he goes. 1 minute 7.789. That's representative. The two-time champion and championship leader is showing his pace once again in the early stages of qualifying. Matt, do you just want to give us a quick rundown of the championship standings as everyone gets their first lap sorted?
Yeah, no problem. So, of course, we went to Hidden Valley for the last round 6 of the championship, and it was once again Wayne Walker that came home on top. It was a fantastic battle between the best of the rest with Craig Broadbent and Daniel Optisano and Stephen White as well. It was pretty much a 3-way fight, and that allowed Wayne Walker to just drive off into the distance, which is exactly what he wanted. He didn't have too much fun at Winton, which was the previous round before that, having a single DNF, but he still leads the championship with 1,571 points. Daniel Optisano is in second, and he's still got a bit of a gap, but it's not unassailable. He can do some homework and do some good if in the rest of the championship and catch him. He's on 1,317 points. And then we have Craig Broadbent. He's been on really good form in this part of the season, and he's on 1,214 points. Peanut Racing and Mark Young is in P4, 1,037, and rounding out those top 5 is Stephen White. He's obviously been on and off. He's missed 2 rounds, but even still 928 points. Billy Ebenhauser in P6 with 908, and I think we'll leave it just outside the top 5, but as you can see, very close just outside those podium positions. A lot to play for, and there's double points available here for this round. There's 300 points in total, so a lot to play for in this endurance race.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Matt. As you said, there's double points, so every single position is really going to help here. And in the early stages of qualifying here, we're just over 5 minutes through. To have a look at the order quickly, Wayne Walker. Oh, I say that Stephen White just puts in a provisional pole time, 1 minute 7.603, and Wayne Walker behind him on a 1 minute 7.789. So those two cars are the only ones in the 107s at the moment. Daniel Optisano, championship challenger, is in third position with a 1 minute 8.078, but he was within a tenth of Wayne Walker in practice, so he has some time to find. Hayden Dara in the HD Racing number 53, he is in 4th place, doing fantastic well so far, with a 1 minute 8.398, so he can gain a little bit of time as well. Brett Gooden in the Starship Racing car in 5th position with 1 minute 8.517. Very busy track at the moment. I think all but 1 or 2 or 3 of the cars out on circuit at the moment, so finding a gap on this track is going to be quite difficult. So how about we ride on board with Wayne Walker, because he's just starting his lap. So coming down through turn 1 now. Not really a turn, just flat out and hope, and then braking heavily into the first real corner, which is turn 2. Grab that apex curb on the right hand side, bouncing over that to the wall on the outside, and then flat out once again through the not so straight, braking once again turn 3, and this is where things get windy, bouncing over the apex curbs, and this is just be as brave as you can. Downshift a little bit through turn 4, get on 2 wheels for a long time there. Wayne Walker's really pushing it, and then through 5 and 6 now, braking very sideways on the brakes, the back end stepping out. He's putting on a good show for us here. Is Wayne Walker. Fantastic lap so far. I'm not sure how fast it's going to be, but once again, flat out braking into the turn 7 and 8 now, I believe. I might be a little bit lost, but there we go, into turn 7 and 8, into the pits. So not quite the.
Well, it was still an amazing lap. I mean, that car went on 2 wheels for quite some time at several spots, and it's quite well, since we've just seen that, it's worth mentioning that this circuit is almost like Monaco in a way, in the eyes of Formula 1 fans and everything else. You know, it's such high consequences but high rewards. You can attack those curves, but they come with risk, and that is that the car will not like it, and it could unsettle them and even flip the car in some points of the circuit. So got to be extremely mindful of that, especially when we go green racing. There is no second or third race like in previous rounds. This is it. So if you make a single mistake on those curves, that's it, game over, you're out of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no real room for error, and as we've seen from a lot of street circuits around Australia, if you crash into a wall, you are well, there's no cushion to help you. That's just solid concrete, and that is going to be big damage to your car. So yeah, you've got to really push. But if you make that one mistake, then that is game over, as you said. Did notice in practice as well, Chris McLennan, Noble Host racing car, going up on 2 wheels, nearly flipping. I think that was through turn 3 possibly, so that's something to look out for come the green flag. But just 6.5 minutes left of qualifying here. Stephen White still holding on to that provisional pole position, but I do know that at least 3 of the cars, Craig Broadbent especially, he can get right up there. I think he was ending possibly on top of the practice session, so it'd be interesting to see if he can get some gaps on the circuit, get a quick time in, but we'll wait and see. Still plenty of time to get a few laps in so far.
Yeah, Daniel Pisano closing the gap to the front runners as well. He's just 0.2 seconds shy of Wayne Walker, who's 6th in second. Stephen White still leading, 1076. And it's, for those that are just joining or you don't know anything about the championship in question, of course it's fixed series for both cars, fixed setups. So it's really nice to see that everyone can almost hit a very similar pace all the way down to P9. You're all within a second of one another, and this is just for the opening qualifying session. You know, once they begin to settle down, go into the top 10 shootout, then that's when it's game time. You know, this is all about just making sure you stay inside that top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Just on the top 10 shootout, so that'll be the first time in this season we will have a top 10 shootout after the qualifying session. So we'll be going out, top 10 cars from this session will go out for effectively one-shot qualifying to get the best lap possible to start the race. So it'll be reverse order basically, so the 10th in this session will go out first, following all up until whoever puts it on provisional pole for this session. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see who has the confidence to push straight away on that one lap and get the lap in immediately. It's a lot of pressure to get the lap right on a one-shot qualifying. You've got one opportunity, and if you make even the smallest mistake, then that is game over.
Well, it's you know, it's all about the tyre temperatures as well. That outlap, you only get one outlap. You've got one opportunity to get them all 4 corners up to temperature, and you know, then it's basically go. You either put it all on the line and risk everything, or you just risk starting at the back of the top 10, which isn't the worst story in the world. Of course, we've got 22 cars here, so starting P10 is still respectable. But at the same time, you just want to be able to, in this circuit like this, it's quite difficult to overtake. There's not a lot of overtaking opportunities, and of course if anything goes wrong, you've got those high concrete walls on either side. So just starting further ahead, it just eliminates that extra bit of risk at the start of the race, and of course that's one of the big factors, you know, one of the pinch points of a race like this.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing to know as well, when it comes to endurance races, qualifying not the most important place, because the race is a little bit longer. You've got more time to make up any position. So you've got to think, is it worth throwing it all into the top 10 shootout to get the best position in the race, or do you think, I'll just hold it maybe 90%, get a decent lap in, get myself in the mid top 10, and then that puts you in a good position for the race. We've got that little bit longer to gain more positions. So it's there's a bit more strategy involved when it comes to the enduros like this, and it's why I enjoy them so much, because there's a lot to think about.
Well, it's going to be even more technical than that for the guys, because of course they've only got the single compound of tyres, which is still the softs. We've had those all season, but they're very delicate. So if you seize into a particular corner, then that set will pretty much get worse very quickly, and you'll lose that optimal performance that they only last for maybe 20 to 25 minutes. Having said that, the fuel will last a bit longer than that, maybe 5 to 10 minutes more. So you've got to really look after the tyres each time you go out. You can't be overly aggressive. And we've seen this before. We saw it at Melbourne, staying behind a car that's ahead. You get dirty air that increases your brake temperatures at the front, and also that affects your turning ability. You start to get understeer, and that really does start to affect the front performance of those tyres. So you've got to be so careful. You've got to be thinking tactically all the time. When's the right time to push? When do I want to attack? When's the time to sit back? And also, of course, you've got the undercut, overcut strategies, especially when it comes to the tyres. And it's a fine balance between all three of those things you've got to manage before you get to the checker flag.
Yeah, absolutely. Just while we were talking there, Daniel Opedisano has put it on provisional pole with 1 minute 7.600, 0.02 of a second ahead of Stephen White. So that is a very fine margin they've got there. There's going to be just about enough time, I think, to get, well, there's pretty much just going to be one lap that they'll be able to put together now, get the out lap done, and then on their way. So Opedisano is, I think, staying in the pits for now. I think he might be fairly happy with where his position is come to the top 10 shootout. Stephen White still on going as well. Craig Broadbent also in the pits. Yeah,
Craig's just done a faster lap. Oh, Wayne Walker back on top with a 107.555.
So he's put in a fantastic time, 1 minute 7.7. Yeah, Wayne Walker goes quickest. So fantastic pace there for him.
Matt Oggy having a bit of a moment in 17th place. He's spun it completely around. Seems to be a bit of traffic at that particular corner that's on camera now. So Stephen White was on a good lap, and then he had to bail out of that, unfortunately. So he's gone back to the pits. But I mean, he's third place. So in these closing stages, I doubt that'll be a concern for him at this time.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Matt Oggs just had a crash coming into pit lane as well. He's just lost his splitter, but that's it's fine. It's just qualifying. Put that straight back on. The top three, they're all happy with their positions. Mark Young has improved, going into 7th position, so he's well inside the top 10 for the shootout at the moment. Billy Ebenheiser, Brett Gooden and Alex Kidas as well, they are all on track at the moment. Their position's not looking as secure coming into the top 10 shootout, but there is a bit of a gap from Alex Kidas, Paul Robinson, about half a second between them.
So I was just watching Hayden Darrow, and he attacked one of the curves very aggressively, sent it onto two wheels and into the tyre wall. So he was on a pretty good lap. It was green for sector 1, setting a personal best, but yeah, didn't end too well, unfortunately.
Brett Gooden improving into 7th position, 108.222. So he is getting a little bit more secure. He is back in the pit, so that's his qualifying for now ended. He's into the top 10 shootout as it stands. The only car in the top 5 still on track is Craig Broadbent. I believe he might be on a lap at the moment, so we'll just keep an eye on him, see how he does. He could improve, get himself into a better position for the top 10 shootout. You do want to go out a bit later in the top 10 shootout. You've got more of a chance, more rubbered in track. There's possibly a bit better temperature as well. There's no rain forecast, so no risk there. So the later you can go out, the better. As I've just heard a massive crash somewhere on track. I don't know who that was, but that was a hefty clout into the wall I just heard.
Yeah, Craig Broadbent is on a pretty decent lap at the moment. He is slightly slower sector 1, but still on pace with the front running. He's done a personal best in sector 2, so he may be able to move up slightly. I mean, either way, obviously qualifying is now over. He could easily back out of this and start in P4. But of course, at the same time, coming to the qualifying shootout, you want to go last because that's when it's most rubber. It's perfect conditions for when you want to push. So he's just coming through the final corner now, over the start-finishing line. Will it be an improvement? That final corner, crucial as he comes down to the start-finishing line, and it is not an improvement in terms of position. Stays P4.
Well, there we go. That's the first stage of qualifying in and onto the top 10 shootout. So into the top 10, we have Wayne Walker, 1 minute 7.555, followed by Daniel Opedisano. So the two championship win at 7.603. Great time from him. Craig Broadbent, as we just saw, staying in 4th position. Hayden Darrett in 5th. Chris McLennan in 6th place, and then rounding out the top 10, we have Brett Gooden, Mark Young, Billy Ebenheiser, and Alex Kidas, all going in to the top 10 shootout. So first on the track is going to be Alex Kiedis to set his lap, so we can watch pretty much from whatever camera angle we want to. You can follow on board for a couple of guys. We can go off board as well. It's been interesting. I've not actually been involved in a kind of top 10 shootout qualifying before, so it's going to be really interesting to watch.
Yeah, as mentioned, for those that aren't familiar with the setup, so basically the person that is 10th will go first out onto track. Alex Kiedis, as you mentioned, he'll be the first one to do one warm-up lap as he exits pit lane, and then it'll be one flying lap before coming back in again. And as the first person crosses the start-finish line to start their flying lap, then the P9 or the next car in the order will then be asked to go out and set their or do their warm-up lap. So there'll never be a crossover between all three, and so on and so forth until we get to first place.
So warm-up on the outlap is absolutely vital here. You've got to get your brakes up to temperature, you've got to get the tyres into the right operating window as well. You've got so much to do on the outlap. It looks like Alex Kiedis is just sending it and just hoping that sending it is going to warm the car up the best way possible. So he's wasting no time in getting this done. So coming into the kind of final sector of the lap now through the penultimate corner. He's going to come through the final corner and start his lap, and then we've got Billy Ebenheiser just waiting at the end of pit lane to start his outlap. So we'll follow Alex Kiedis as he sets his lap now. Big sideways moment at the final corner, really pushing onto his flying lap. Let's see how we can do. Into turn 1, flat out once again. And then got to brake heavily into turn 2. Looks like he's got managed to get that stopped nicely. A bit wide of the apex there. It looks like, very wide and very sideways on the exit. That's going to cost him a little bit of time, but still carrying on. That car seems to be a little bit unsettled coming through here. Doesn't look like he's quite managing to get any power down. It's 2 wheels there.
Oh, slightly bad exit through that particular corner. Just went slightly wide. Wasn't able to get the car front end of the car turned in time. Just went slightly wide, and you heard him back out from the throttle when he should have been powering down at that point. But seems to be bringing it back under control now as he entered sector 3. 100-meter board on the left-hand side. You reference braking here and slowing it quite nicely down actually for that particular corner before powering towards the final start-finish straight.
Yeah, through the final corner now, and we'll see what kind of time this is. Sideways once again. So much power coming down there. Not going to be the best time for Alex Kiedis. That is a 1:08.964, so I don't think that's going to be much of a threat to the other drivers, but a good entertaining effort nonetheless from Alex Kiedis. So good effort there. Billy Ebenheiser just starting his lap now, so let's keep an eye on him as he goes through his lap. So into turn 2, the first braking zone. So yeah, slightly wide of the apex, has to have a little bit of a stab of the throttle just to get the back end turned down, but seems to be a little bit quicker. Turn 3, lots of inside curb. Good exit through a little dip on the outside there as well.
So we're just about 0.5 hundredths of a second up in sector 1, so it is purple for the time being here for Billy Ebenheiser. Sector 2's time should be coming in now. It is slightly quicker, so we've got 2 purple sectors, only just marginal though. So Alex Kiedis will be close in terms of this time. Looks like it's going to be potentially another 1:08 here for Java Sim Esports.
Oh, very squirrely under braking into the penultimate corner there, but he's got a lot of time he can find in the final corner. We saw Kiedis getting very sideways on the exit. Through the final corner, lots of tractor run up there.
Very stable,
much tidier. Across the line, and that is a 1:08.712, so a couple of tenths quicker goes Billy Ebenheiser.
It's all about that final corner, isn't it? It really is, and that's what I was saying. That tire temperature, as you bring it up to temperature, that's what really counts. That will help you in those slower exits, and those tires need to be able to plant onto the tarmac and power out.
Yeah, Mark Young next. He is across the start-finish line, starting his lap now. look much tidier coming out the final corner onto his flying lap as well. So he's got much more control of the throttle, it seems. Just about getting towards the apex there. A little bit sideways an exit, but not too bad. Should be able to hold the speed. Again, lots of apex curb, not quite as wide as Billy Ebenheiser coming out there. I think that dip might unstep the car ever so slightly. Oh, 2 wheels there as he gets over those massive curbs. Breaking into the 3rd sector now. Let's have a look at his times. He is a little bit quicker on maybe a 10th and a half, well, a 10th quicker, a half a 10th quicker so far than Billy Ebenheiser. So coming into the penultimate corners now, flips the apex curve nicely. Nice and easy on the power, very good. Oh, now through the final corner. Yeah, easy on the power, comes up to the start-finish line. That's a woman 8.6, so another 10th quicker goes Mark Young. So it's not a bad time whatsoever there. Got Brett Gooden coming up now. That final corner, and onto the start-finish straight goes Brett Gooden, the Starship Racing Holden. See what he can do. Aggressive gear downshifting there from Brett Gooden. He is using all of the engine braking in that Holden.
Sounds amazing though, these V8s do sound absolutely spectacular. Oh, Jesus!
Oh, he's in the wall!
2 wheels, yeah, he's gone into the wall.
Nice.
That's not a good lap there for Brett Gooden. He was actually purple through the Sector 1, so he still posted a 20.3, which is actually a few tenths faster than Ebenhauser. But obviously that is now going to all be lost when we get to see the Sector 2 time. Yes, 17.3,
yeah.
And once again into the tyres on 2 wheels. He likes to make it interesting for us here. But yeah, he's now needs to really settle down for the final set of corners. Otherwise, this is going to be P10 here for Starship Racing.
Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic and dramatic to watch. It's been very entertaining, but yeah, unfortunately, not the quickest way to go around this this track in Townsville. So, coming across the start finish line now, we'll see where Brett Gooden ends up, and yeah, 1 minute 10.406. So, not a representative time for Brett Gooden there, but you can clearly see why.
Yeah, it's so easily done. I mean, it's quite easy for us to criticise from up here in the commentary box and you know, say that was a bad thing to do. But the curbing on these, I mean, we're quite high up in these V8s, aren't we? They're not exactly the smallest things to navigate around the street circuit. And yeah, just touch that curb and it's game over.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all the pressure to get the lap right as well. You've got a lot to think about here, but yeah, still a good effort nonetheless. He's still starting at least in 10th position, so very good there. Chris McLennan now, the Noble Host Racing Mustang, seems to have a little bit more kind of trouble on the braking. The back end looks a little bit squirrely under the brakes there in the kind of heavy braking sectors at the beginning of the lap, but managed to gather it back up so far.
Purple Sector 2 and Sector 1 ever so slightly, so it's looking good so far. Just the final set of corners for the 3rd sector, and we could see a new front row man.
Yeah, last heavy braking zone here gets the car stopped very nicely. Bit tail happy on the exit, but again, can carry the speed doing. Yeah, into the final corner now.
Nicely done there as well. It just managed to feather the throttle. It wanted to twitch and snap, but it didn't, and that's a 108.3. That's 0.4 seconds faster than the next person. That's really impressive.
That is very impressive. Fantastic time there for Chris McLennan. He is up into the front row. Next on track, Hayden Darry. He's been a bit of a surprise in this round in the number 53, the mellow yellow Holden. So coming across start finish line now. Nobody in the top 10 shootout yet to break the 1 minute 7 mark, but we'll see. Just as the top 5 now come through, they'll probably start to break those times. Not a bad turn 3 there, turn 2, sorry, for the HC Racing car into turn 3. Yep. Yeah, he's gone purple by quite a way. Look at that. half a second up. So fantastic time so far. Can Hayden keep it up? He's going aggressive on the curve, not too aggressive though. He's managing to keep it on track.
16.3. It's not the fastest time through sector 2, but he's still got the slight advantage.
Absolutely. Coming into the final sector now, he's very aggressive on those curves through the second sector as well. That could have cost him a little bit of time, but nice and tidy through the penultimate corner. Heading into the final corner now. What can Hayden Dara do? Nice, easy through there. Easy on the power. Good exit. We're coming across the line. And is this going to be 107? Ooh, not quite. 108.126. So that is provisional pole so far for the HC Racing number 53. But more to come. I think he could have given it a little bit more in that car. I think I have seen him break into the 107s, but pretty good lap nonetheless.
That would be interesting. Craig Broadbent now coming up into the starting position, just starting his flying lap. Obviously P4 in practice or in qualifying, so let's see if he can put in a really nice time. We was mentioning before we went live how close the guys up front were. I think it was something stupid like 0.08 seconds between the top 3 or 4 cars, and Craig Broadbent being one of them. So this could be a really good race to witness for this particular round. And of course, both championship contenders, Daniel Oppizzano and Craig Broadbent, both sit in third and second in the standings. So really important moment here.
Yeah, absolutely. Craig Broadbent, he showed good pace throughout the season. He's had some bad luck, but managing to, I think, start to gather it all back up towards this kind of second half of the season. But coming into the penultimate corner now, let's have a look at his...
It wasn't the best sector won by at least
his sectors. He's not quite... He's...
and it wasn't the best sector 2, but just marginally. So we are on basically borderline purple sector here. All that comes down to sector 3. Is it enough? And
yes, it
is. Wow, really good. 107.976. That's quite a good time there.
Yeah, first car into the 107s in the top 10 shootout. But there's more to come. Stephen White is next up. He's shown some good pace. He's not been here for all the rounds, so he's not really in the title challenge at the moment. But whenever he's here, he is always kind of a thorn in the side of the top 2, Wayne Walker and Daniel Oppizzano. But we are getting into the business end of top 10 shootout. Our top 3 cars now coming to start their laps. So Stephen White first. Let's follow him around and see what he can do. Nice, into the first heavy braking zone, turn 2 now. Nice apex through there. And on the power, nice and tidy. It's a very tidy looking lap so far from Stephen White. A little bit wide of on the exit there, very close to the wall, but managed to carry some speed through.
Yeah, down on the front splitter camera on this Holden, you could really get to see the undulation that the suspension goes through coming out of turn 2. You know, it really does dip down on the left-hand side of the car, and it just causes this huge bounce, and that can't be good for acceleration coming out of that corner. It's quite important.
2 wheels there coming through sector 2 there. Let's have a look at his sector so far. He looks like he's just around the pace of Craig Broadbent. He's not quite quicker, so he's got it all to do in the final corner now. Perfectly hits the apex, but a little bit untidy on exit, a bit hesitant on the throttle. Is that going to be enough to take pole position? It is, by not much, by less than 10. Fantastic there from Stephen White. So he is in provisional pole so far, but we do have the 2 heavyweight hitters of the championship fight starting their laps shortly. Daniel Oppizzano, the penultimate car to take to the circuit in the top 10 shootout, coming through the final corner now. He's got it all to do. Can he get the best of his championship rival and get himself on pole position? We'll find out in just over a minute's time. Very close to the wall through turn 1 there, leaving no room. Oh, that was
really on the limit of the pit limit. The rev limiter as well. You can just hear the engine screaming away. Really well timed to manage to hit those without obviously causing damage to the engine or you know, going excessively onto that. But it's a nice sector 1. coming in 20.2, so I think that's the fastest time we've had. No, it's not, sorry. Slightly slower than Hayden Darrow, who's still got the purple for Sector 1. So he's got a bit of time to find in the second sector. It's a 16.034. Oh, two wheels massively into the air. That's not going to help his efforts at all. It's not a purple Sector 2, unfortunately, only marginally. I think it's 0.02 seconds off purple times. Bringing it together for Sector 3, is he going to have enough of a window or leeway in order to make that work for him? It's all about the final corner. It powers down nicely, the Holden holding itself together. Excuse my English there, as he comes across the start finishing line.
Oh,
and it's not
that was
good
nowhere
enough.
near good enough. That was 0.7 of a second off. I think he was pushing far too hard there.
It was that two-wheel moment, wasn't it? That's where, because you already had the Sector 2 time come through when the car went up onto those two wheels. It became a bicycle for a short moment in time, and that was where all of that time was lost. He should have been accelerating at that point, and that's where it all went.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked like in the braking zone as well, he was just struggling to get the car stopped. He was braking too late, relying too much on the engine braking. You can see he was barely making the apexes, so I think a little bit too much effort put into Daniel Pisano's lap there, but yeah, as you said, losing a lot of time on two wheels coming over the curbs. But final car we have on circuit now, Wayne Walker, the championship leader, two-time defending champion. Is he going to be able to take pole away from Stephen White? It's going to be good for him that Pisano's back down in sixth, because he doesn't need to push too hard to keep his championship rival a few cars between him, so see what he can do. He's going to want to get that pole though for the bragging rights. A little bit hesitant on the apex there through the right-hander, but let's have a look at his sectors. He's
purple Sector 1. Oh, he's gone into the barrier.
Oh no, I missed that. I was looking at the sectors. Yeah, he was purple Sector 1 and 2.
It was it was the same corner. It was the same corner that Pisano had as well. So this is all unfolded in the same way for both drivers, both championship contenders. He was going purple, Dave, 100%. Yeah, purple Sector 1, purple Sector 2. Only drivers going to the 15 for Sector 2. And then it all went horribly wrong. That same curve comes across the start finishing line. Where's he going to be? It's P9, Dave.
Oh, 1 minute 9.840. So disaster for the two championship contenders, but more of a disaster for Wayne Walker. So that's it. Stephen White takes pole position with a 1 minute 7.882. Fantastic lap from him. Craig Broadbent in second position with a 1 minute 7.976. Hayden Darrow bringing out the top three podium positions. Chris McLennan in fourth. Mark Young in fifth. But yeah, what a fantastic session that was. But what an absolute disaster from the top two cars.
I really do not know what happened there. I think, as you say, it was just they really wanted that pole position, and of course you've got Craig Broadbent. He put in a really solid lap, as did Stephen White. Craig Broadbent is a threat at the moment in terms of the championship. Of course, he's still a few hundred points behind, but double points available here today, and that's where it all counts. Easy start at the front for Craig Broadbent. That's going to change the game. He's got to think now extremely tactically about how he wants to play this and how he wants to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether it's going to be pushing from the very beginning, or he's going to take his time to work his way through the field, Wayne Walker, he's got some work to do to get himself back onto the top. But we have seen him come back from much worse than this. He's had some great races, especially from the reverse grid races in Melbourne, for example. Before his, I think he had some accidents there, which kind of took him out of the fight ever so slightly. But yeah, we've seen Wayne Walker come back from a lot worse than this. So we'll see what he can do. But yeah, fantastic lap from Stephen White, Craig Broadbent, Hayden Darrow as well. I think that's his first top three start of the season. So he's done extremely well. Chris McLennan as well. He's been threatening some good pace. Since the start of the season, but not really had the opportunity to do so. But yeah, that was fantastic. I hope we could see some more of that in the season. Some great results and upsets being shown there. It just shows what the dangers of a one-shot qualifying is. If you get your lap wrong even slightly, that could set your entire race on its head. So I think Wayne Walker probably was expecting to have a little bit of an easier time at this, but we'll see what he can do. It'll definitely be much more fun for us to watch.
Yeah, I mean, we're now going into our warm-up session, which is giving the admins time to sort the grid and assign the positions as per the shootout, and obviously the remaining grid as per the first qualifying session. So it's going to be a little while before we go to green racing, but I completely agree. Spectacular. It was the first shootout we've had this season. Awesome to watch. You know, it's do or die time, and it's great to see the guys under pressure and seeing who has a slight moment and finds himself in an awkward position, and others, of course, really starting to shine through and having a good position for the start of the race.
Yeah, and it's going to be it's setting up to be a fantastic race. The two championship leaders got some people to work through, but it's not going to be the easiest job for them. These guys are quick up at the front here. Stephen White, he's had a race win this season already back in Melbourne, so he's going to try and get another one onto the board as well. Craig Broadbent, again, I think he's had some decent results in the last couple of races, but he's going to want to make just kind of make his look carry on. He's got 2 wins.
You still there, Dave?
Yep, sorry. What I'm going to do, while the warm-up's going on, if you just entertain the crowd just for a minute, I'm going to sort out my my internet connection where it stops me dropping out. So bear with me 2 minutes.
So yeah, as mentioned, we're just waiting for the grid to be assigned, and then we will go into our first endurance race of the season, ladies and gents. Round 7 of the Supercar V8 Championship, the Downunder series. It's worth mentioning while we're waiting for the guys to get racing and get ready to go into the 90 minutes here at Townsville. Thank you very much to our sponsors, Noble Host, of course, allowing us the opportunity to have this great series, and of course Service Australia. They're the ones that provide us this brilliant platform to go racing on. You know, all the guys connecting. We're connecting from England today, so it gives you an idea of just how stable their servers are. So if you are interested, then find all the links in the description, including the one for the series. If you're looking to join a V8 Championship, then this is certainly highly recommended as far as we're concerned. Click on the links below and join the action. Of course, we are at the halfway point of the season now, so all the points that are going on the board are now becoming vital, and you know, less opportunities available to rectify any mistakes. And of course, Wayne Walker and all the championship contenders are fully aware of this fact, so they'll be looking to make sure they play it safe here. Double points, 300 maximum available, and of course just the one race as already mentioned, so extremely important that they bring this home in good order. And of course, as you can see, we go into a few more sprints as per the calendar. Tailem Bend sprint, and of course Sandown sprint as well. And then the next one, the massive event, of course, is round 11 Bathurst 1000, and then followed by Gold Coast and Newcastle. So at the end of the season, that's when it's crunch time. You'll have similar races to what we've got this evening, and that's when things get really feisty. So really looking forward to that part of the season. It'll be interesting to see how the guys cope. And you know, if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff and you like to see good racing from these guys, then by all means keep it posted on our channel. Everything gets broadcasted here, and have a good catch up and a good time watching these V8s stream around the circuits. So before we go racing, once the grid has been assigned, we'll quickly run through the order for qualifying for you, so we have a good idea of who is where. We're still waiting for the final places to be assigned, and then we will bring that up for you, just so you know who is where outside the top 10. If you have just joined us though and you missed the top 10 shootout, rewind, because it was a really good show, and make sure you don't miss any of that. Really interesting stuff, so be sure to do that.
Okay, I think I should be back. Hello, everyone.
Welcome back, Dave.
Yeah, just loading back into the server. I was listening to everything you were saying. One interesting thing is, as we move further into the season, we do have a lot more endurance races.
Yes.
Now, obviously, that is a completely different kind of. It's a completely different animal to a sprint race that we've had so far in the super sprints. So, are we going to see different talents come through, people who can go those longer for those longer stints, and be a little bit, a little bit better in those ones, or we're going to see the same names just go further ahead. So it's a completely different mindset for an endurance race. Even if it's just 90 minutes as opposed to 40 minutes, it's still twice the race distance, and you don't get a break of 10 minutes between the two races as we have seen. So are we going to see people who come through the order that are a little bit better on this long stints? We'll have to wait and see, but it's going to be an interesting dynamic for the rest of the season.
I mean, yeah, I completely agree. It's especially as mentioned, these guys this evening, they've only got the soft compound tyres. It's a fine balance between looking after them and making sure you can go the full stint without having to come in early for fuel. There's so much you have to think about, and the thing about sim racing is you don't have a team of engineers behind the pit wall doing all the math for you. You've got to do it all yourself before the race, and you have to act on your own initiative based on what happens around you. And if you flat spot a tyre, you've got to make that decision there and then if you're going to come in the next lap to replace it, or carry on and try and maintain a strong pace despite the issues that you're having to deal with. So it's so much going on in your head in these races, and of course, bearing in mind you've got 90 minutes, that's a lot of focus. You've got high walls on either side, as we've already mentioned. It's you've got to be so alert, and it's exhausting for these guys, especially wrestling V8 supercars. They haven't got a lot of aero, so they're going sideways, hitting those curves, going on two wheels, all the rest of it, and thinking strategically at the same time. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about, especially on a street circuit like this, because if you take your mind away from, say, one apex while you're thinking about your fuel loads, there's a concrete wall to kind of just ruin your strategy for you. So it's a lot to think about. It's mentally draining, it can be physically draining as well, especially if you're on like more of a high-end wheel direct drive with high force feedback. It's a lot to think about, even if there's guys using, because obviously these cars have a kind of sequential gearbox, and a lot of these guys are heel towing as well in the downshifts. They're going to be absolutely knackered by the end of this. It's a good job it's the depths of winter in Australia right now.
Yeah, certainly. I think they'll be enjoying the slightly cooler weather. But let's run through. We've got 2 minutes now before we go into the race itself. So let's quickly touch on the starting order. Stephen White in first, followed by Craig Broadbent. I'm sorry, the graphic has stopped working for me for some reason. I'll reload that so it actually loads correctly. Hayden Darrett in an amazing third place, followed by Chris McLennan in P4. A really good lap from all of those involved. Stephen White, though, best of all. And then coming home in P5, Mark Young for Peanut Racing, Daniel Opedizzano for P6, Evan Hauser in Java Sim, and then Alex Kidas. Really good lap from him for Tickford Racing. Good stuff. Then Wayne Walker, not the result he was hoping for, starts in P9, followed by Brett Gooden in P10. Paul Robinson 11th, followed by Alex Daly in P12. Sean Stafford comes home 13th, Bradley Martin in 14th. Then we have Peter Shearing and then Matt Ogg for Oggy Racing. I love that racing name every time I read it out. Then we have Steve Dunn in 17th, Craig Stoddard in 18th. And then 19th is John Wade, followed by Peter Foster. We had him for quite some time in the previous rounds. He's had a bit of a break, I think, from the series, but good to see him back. But we used to see him in the top 10, so maybe he'll find his groove again and move up the order. Rounding out the final two, though, Ashley Cutchy and Justin Bryce there, Dave. So that is your lineup for today. 22 cars, 90 minutes of racing. Let's see what they can do.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting race. Could be a long one for these guys. They've got to keep it on the track for that time, but we'll see how it all goes. Notice I'm just still having some internet issues, but I've just changed some settings. I hope that's fixed it. But yeah, if I go quiet, yeah, it's all my end. Yeah, I'm very excited for this race. 15 seconds ago, before we grid up, we had the very loud pit announcer to tell everyone to get off the grid, which is a R Factor staple, and we'll be ready to go. So nice long run to the first braking zone as well, for everyone to start sorting themselves out and possibly have a massive crash, but we'll see. These guys seem to be pretty good on the opening laps, and I've not really seen a huge amount of first lap accidents throughout this season, so it's gonna be good.
I know that turn 1 is basically a right-hand kink, but it's if you get a 3-wide situation there, I'd certainly have a code brown, that's for sure. So fingers crossed we get a nice smooth transition down. Obviously, the big danger point is turn 2. Lots of heavy brakes, people wanting to get up the grid and make a move on the inside lines, etc. So that'll be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one thing to keep an eye on as well, is it possible we could start going into darkness here? I'm not entirely sure what the simulated time of day is, but I did notice that in the practice session, it does start to go dark towards the end of that session, of the 2-hour session. 1.5 hours now, so is it possible we could be getting some darkness going on here?
That I don't know. I mean, I've been doing a fair bit of research on the V8 series, but I don't think they go into... They do night races, of course, because we've had a few this season already, but I don't know if Townsville and the endurance races in particular do exactly that. But we'll have to wait and see. It'll be brilliant. If it does, we'll get some great shots and camera angles, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. So just waiting for everyone to get onto the grid now. They've got about 5 seconds to do so, and there's quite a few guys that are not on there yet, including our pole sitter. So, Stephen? There he is. So, lights go on.
And we are off. So, yeah, Craig Broadbent off to a already decent start. Stephen White is alongside. And they are actually still side by side even now. Stephen White and the Holden getting a slight edge as they run down into turn 2. They're all brakes applied. You can see all 22 cars getting through quite nicely. You know, tyres not up to temperature just yet. A bit sideways there in the background. I think that might have been Mark Young as the tyres start to struggle in the slower corners. Stephen White starting to get away already from Craig Broadbent. But yeah, all is the same for the time being.
Yep, it's a bit further down the order. Optisano got up into 5th as she's past Mark Young. Wayne Walker losing a place. He is down in 10th now, so he's got not the best of starts from him, but he's got plenty of time to get the job done. But yeah, Stephen White already second clear of Craig Broadbent. He's flying on his first lap. He's going to be out of slipstream range in the next few laps, or the next few corners, it seems. But fantastic start from him to get his, a good chance of getting a win here in this race, but still early days, still 1.5 hours just under to go, so plenty of time for other cars to make a move. Craig Broadbent, decent start from him as well. He got a little bit of a gap to Chris McLennan in 3rd position. Hayden Dara, once again, good start from him. And Optisano, he is going to start moving very aggressive on the overtakes and likes to get them done quickly, so he's going to be closing in very quick now on the 2 cars ahead who are starting to fight. Doesn't look like Chris McLennan had the best of entries there. He got a little bit closed in by Hayden Dara.
Yeah, Wayne Walker moving down by 1 position. Obviously, he started 9th. He's gone down into P10. Alex Daly had a little sneak peek down the inside into the second corner on the next lap, but wasn't able to make that work. And Daniel Optisano up to P5. He started P6. So slight movements there from the championship contenders, and that's where they currently sit after the first lap.
Yeah, another few tenths gained by Stephen White. He's been very strong in the first 2 sectors and then just gets closed up just a little bit by Craig Broadbent in the final sector. So he's doing a pretty decent job of maintaining the gap so far. See what kind of lap times we get coming through the final corner now. But yeah, it's all go on this. Everyone's just going to try and find a rhythm, find a position that they can start just settling into the groove. So plenty of time, and they've just got to just settle, just take the laps as they come. So far, plenty of time to make an overtaking opportunity, which I think is what Wayne Walker's doing back down in 10th, just biding his time. He knows he's got a lot of time to make up positions. So looking at Alex Daly got very sideways out of the 3rd corner there. He is being chased down by, or 2nd corner, sorry, he's being chased down by Justin Bryce. That's for 11th position. All over the track at the moment is Alex Daly, so he's really pushing in these early stages.
Yeah, we're just touching on Stephen White as well as we watch this battle just outside the top 10, is whether or not Stephen's looking after those tyres. We've already mentioned that it's very crucial to look after them, and of course you have to make that fine balance with the fuel usage, etc. So my question is that 100%? Is he going for burning through the tyres? Is that the approach that he's taking? Is maybe Craig having a reserve approach and trying to look after that first set? Or is there something else going on? And maybe if Stephen White just has stronger pace at this stage, it's we just don't know, basically, I think is my point in that. we just have to wait and see who is going to enter the pit first, who's going to take that first bite, commit to the pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Stephen White's in a good position in terms of his tyre because he's not got any dirty air to contend with. Craig Broadbent being about a second behind, he's going to be getting a little bit of the dirty air coming off the back of the White Dog Racing Holden. So that's going to hurt his tyres, going to be heating the tyres up, wearing them out a little bit quicker. So yeah, maybe he needs to just drop back a little bit.
Walker going on the inside of Brett Gooden. Nice manoeuvre there as he takes the position. So up into 9th once again. So great overtake on the inside. And yeah, Brett Gooden just couldn't do anything about that one.
Yeah, it looks like overtaking opportunities are at a premium around this track. There's only a couple of heavy braking zones, and you've got to be very brave to make a move through some of these corners. So yeah, I think Wayne Walker's just going to have to take the chances as they come to him here.
He's got a bit of a gap now to Billy in the 55, which is just ahead. In fact, he's just closed that gap down quite nicely. Alex Kiedis just ahead in his blue Mustang in 7th, so this is now coming down quite nicely into a three-way fight for that position.
Yeah, 7th position being squalled over now. Alex Kiedis is, as you said, doing a good job of defending from the Jarviston eSports car at the moment, but he's got the pressure, and that pink Mustang in the background must be foreboding for Alex Kiedis. He's got the bright green Holden, the bright pink Mustang closing him in, and he's dropped back from Mark Young in 6th position as well. So he's on his own. He can't get any help from anybody else to defend this position. So we see Alex Daly and Justin Bryce in the background going side by side nearly for 11th place. That could be an interesting fight to watch.
Well, Brett Gooden's now closed the gap after being overtaken by Walker there, so this is really starting to come together. Four-way battle for this position. 7th place, Alex Kiedis still ahead for the time being, but something's going to have to give. Someone's going to make the move in a short moment's time.
Yeah, absolutely. Kiedis starting to become a little cork in the bottle here for these this kind of four-way pack, and that's bringing Alex Daly as well. Oh, as he gets sideways in the background now, Alex Daly's really pushing in that car. But he's about to get overtaken by Justin Bryce in the treble 3. But yeah, it's going to bring everybody closing in there. Alex Kiedis, hopefully, maybe that's his tactic, just to back everybody back into some more traffic, and get more squabbling amongst themselves. So.
Yeah, it's worth noting as well, Mark Young is the next car in the pack in 6th. He's got a nice advantage of just over a second and a half to Alex Kiedis. In fact, sorry, apologies, that's even more. It's 3.5 seconds. Then you see Daniel Orbisano and Hayden Dara there about to do battle, 0.5 seconds between those two. So we've got to pick and choose here, Dave, who we're going to watch, because I can guarantee as soon as we go and click someone else, that's when the overtakes are going to start happening on the other side of the track.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one person keeps an eye on one end, one keeps down the other. But back at the front of the field, Craig Broadbent dropping back from Stephen White. Yep. I know he's nearly 2 seconds back now, so that not really a battle for lead developing here, and Craig Broadbent also got quite the gap to Chris McLennan as well. So the top 4 cars kind of spreading out. Hayden Dara and Daniel Orbisano pretty close on track as well, but yeah, the closest fight at the moment looks like for 7th position. Billy Ebenheiser got the run on Alex Kiedis. He's going to side by side in the wall, is he?
I think so. I mean, I think there was a slight love tap with the concrete. Not too sure if that'll have any impact on the driving ability of that green machine, but it looked quite nasty from the camera angle that we saw it from.
Yeah, it looks like he managed to get away from it for now. That left him dangerously close to Wayne Walker, but he's managed to hold off that attack for now. But that'll be Alex Kiedis a little bit happier there. So, oh, thank God we've got a little bit of breathing room, and I can start thinking about looking forward rather than backwards again. But yeah, again, Brett Gooden right on the back of Wayne Walker. This is not great for Wayne Walker.
Sorry to interrupt, Dave. Hayden Dara is losing the position to Daniel Orbisano. We just caught the back end of the overtake down the inside into sector 3 on the penultimate corner. Just claimed that inside line. Hayden took a very wide berth. Not too sure if that was over braking or if he had a mistake, but that is now Daniel Orbisano into 4th. 2 seconds now behind Chris McLennan and those podium positions.
Oh, look at this. Wayne Walker making a move here on Billy Ebenheiser. He's on the inside for turn 1. That's going to be the inside for turn 2 as well. Side by side going through turn 1, braking now into turn 2. Who's going to have the better brakes? Looks like Wayne Walker's got the advantage. Can Ebenheiser get the switch back? No, he cannot. He's under pressure now from Brett Gooden as well. Side by side with Brett Gooden, nearly touching there. And that is going to be disaster for Billy Ebenheiser as Brett Gooden goes down the inside into turn 3. So 2 positions and 2 corners there for Billy Ebenheiser he's lost. So not ideal. Looks like he's slowing up. He's got some damage possibly from that contact with the wall. Doesn't look like he's got any pace to match the cars he was fighting.
No, I mean, that was a really high-speed impact, wasn't it? Even though it was a glancing strike onto the front left of that car, that would have done substantial damage. And as soon as that happened, you saw Alex Kiedis, the leader of the pack, start to pull away ever so slightly. So I do think he may have some tracking issues. Oh, Alex Kiedis going sideways. There goes the championship leader down the inside, taking full advantage of that minor error there. Brett Gooden also through. So these two are really starting to push up the order, now finding themselves P7 and P8.
Ebenheiser in the background there just dived on the inside of turn 2 and contact between him and Alex Kiedis. Kiedis has got the straight line speed to get back ahead though, but yeah, the elbows are getting out here for 9th position. Inside goes Billy Ebenheiser. Get that stopped. That's not stopping. Surely not. He's managed to just about get it stopped. Fantastic move there from Ebenheiser. That was very brave and quite bold moves through into final corner. Oh god,
Kiedis. I mean, I don't know if that's damage from that contact or whether or not he's just having a bad lap, but Kiedis going very sideways through sector 2, and he's losing a lot of pace to these front runners now. He's almost at least 2 seconds off Walker after that overtake already, so some problems there for the Blue Mustang. Yeah,
that's at least Wayne Walker now. He's got already a second on Brett Gooden now, so he could be chasing after Mark Young about 5 or so seconds off the back of the Peanut Racing Holden. So he's got some work to do, but we know how quick Wayne Walker is. We know how determined he can be to make up those positions. So keep an eye on that as it develops. Opedisano closing in on the podium positions now. He is about a second and a half back from Chris McLennan.
Yeah, we've got battles for P10 and 11. Paul Robinson now applying pressure to Kiedis, so his situation is only getting worse down the inside. Contact between the two of them. That was a bit of a... I mean, the car was alongside, and then the Mustang just seemed to turn in. Well, maybe he wasn't aware that he was there, or maybe had a bit of snap oversteer, not too sure. But Paul Robinson goes through. Alex Kiedis now out just outside the top 10, so he's not having a good day at all.
Yeah, from what I can see there, Alex Kiedis, maybe the rear's locked a little bit. Got the downshifting a bit wrong. The car swung one way, swings to the other, and yeah, just a little bit of sideswipe into the side of Robson. But door-to-door contact doesn't seem to be too bad, and yeah, Paul Robinson's just running away. Looks like Kiedis is having some problems keeping the car in a straight line at the moment. Maybe some damage. Look at that! It just turns towards the barrier, braking.
I think he surely either he's really cooked those tyres, or he's got a damage at some stage. I'm not too sure, but the next car's coming in thick and fast. Peter Spearing in the 14, and also Justin Bryce there, 0.7 seconds between the two of them, and 1.5 seconds before they catch up to Kiedis. So he could find himself in yet more trouble if he doesn't fix the issue he's got.
See when it comes into the braking zone here, yeah, look how much that's squirmed under braking. Not quite as drastic as it was before, but yeah, maybe he's cooked the tyres. That definitely won't help that slide.
So I'm just watching Alex Dady and Matt Ogg coming into turn 2. Oh, he's got someone around.
Yeah, there's definitely some issues in the cockpit there.
Yeah, someone. I saw someone stationary at the exit of turn 2. I'm not too sure who that was, but one car having a bit of an issue there, getting back up to speed. Hasn't caused any yellow flags, so I think we got away with having any safety cars, etc., or collisions. Just watching this battle between Ashley Cutchley and Steve Dunn. Oh, and Ashley going off the circuit, turning into a bit of a rally course for a small moment in time, and he seems to be struggling as well. So a lot of cars going very sideways. I think the tyres are being cooked here. It's very suspicious. I mean, either everyone's had a bit of minor contact here and there between one another, but there hasn't been major contact that we've seen. So I can only assume that the tyres are being cooked already after 15 minutes worth of racing.
Yeah, well, the track temperature 29 degrees, so not the hottest of temperatures it could be. Yeah, maybe they're just starting to fight a little bit too early in the race. I mean, we're not even 15 minutes into the race yet, and there's already been quite a lot of action. Yeah, there's some work to do. Ooh, look in there. That's who's that round? That was Sean Stafford. He's gone round at turn 3. Got it back underway now, and he is going. But yeah, that was a spin there, just on power a little bit too early. Got himself. Oh, Billy Ebenheiser dropping down the order. He's out. He's stopped at the side of the track.
Wow, I mean that's a sad day for Jarvisim, because I believe that's their only driver. Used to have Gigi Izan. He's not here this evening, so that is Jarvisim's efforts pretty much out of this 90 minutes endurance race, unfortunately. And he was having such a great evening. It's that contact with the wall, I'm telling you. It just basically, fast glancing blow, and that was his tracking gone. And of course, with these tyres, as soon as he starts to fight the car, it just gets worse and worse, lap after lap. And there's only so much you can hold on for, and that's the end result, unfortunately.
Yeah, just looking back at the replay on my side, he got the turn-in all wrong too quickly, and that is heavy contact with the barrier. So, yeah, that is going to be him out of the race, I believe. He's still sat there now. Yeah, now he's back in the pits. So, yeah, heavy contact with the barrier. That is him out of the race. So, unfortunate for Billy Ebenheiser, but the race continues. The battle for P3 hotting up now. Daniel Pisano within a second of Chris McLennan, so this fight's going to start developing here. Still though, Stephen White in the lead with the fastest lap, 1 minute 8.9, so he's doing quite well. Wayne Walker into 6th position as well. He's just got around Mark Young.
Yeah, so just looking at the lap times here, Craig Broadbent is setting lap for lap pace at the moment. In fact, it was just 2.2 seconds shy that last lap around, but he was doing a 109.7, same as Stephen White. So that pace seems to be plateauing now. So Stephen White's no longer really pulling away at the end of the first, or at least halfway through our first stint here. So interesting to see how that's going to play out over the next course of laps, and I'm interested to find whether or not Stephen White can maintain that pace and keep that gap, or it's going to come back the other way where he pushed early on to try and create a really weird moment there for Chris McLennan. He went into the barrier. We're just watching as Daniel Oppizzano just goes around the outside in sector 2, but he was in the lead. Mustang braked for the corner, tank slapped and just rotated to the right hand side, which would have been completely opposite to what he was trying to do. He's obviously taken a turn to the left, but just glancing blow, and that just caused a slight bit of damage, I believe. And then now outside of those podium positions, Oppizzano takes the place.
Yeah, the concrete walls claiming victims already in this race, and we're not even anywhere near halfway. So this is showing the dangers of the street circuit and also endurance racing as well. You've got if you do yourself in at the beginning of the race, you've got it all to in the rest of the race to bring it back in. But even then, this isn't the longest of endurance races. It's an hour and a half. You'd see GT races go for much longer than that and still call it a sprint. But yeah, these are different machines to do that in. Obviously, this is endurance, especially when you're just human the car around this circuit. It is enduring to get this car to the end for an hour and a half.
I was just going to say, like, handling a V8 for 20 minutes is endurance racing. It's not a tame machine, is it? It definitely wants to fight you.
Looking back, Alex Kiedis continues to fall a little bit further down the field. Looks like he's gathered up the issues that he had. So he is into P11 at the moment, but he's got Matt Ogg chasing him in that Dayglow green Mustang.
He's just outside of those top 10 positions, so he's still 11th place, which is where we kind of left him, I believe, as he lost outside. So he, as you say, I think he's solved the issues. Maybe just the tyres not coming up to temperature all the way. Sideways moment there for Peter Spearing, going off track as he came into sector 3. And Sparks, as he bumped back onto the grey stuff and back underway. Lost a lot of positions in the process though.
Yeah, I would say that is not the ideal racing line to take through that corner, but he is back on the road. He'll have some work to clear the dirt off his tyres, and he's lost quite a few positions there doing that. 3 positions he's lost, so he's got some work to do to bring himself back into the fight there. But we were saying that Alex Kiedis has solved the issues. I don't think he has. He's just got very sideways out of turn 2, and he's got Matt Ogg right on the back
Oh,
of
big crunch. Well, who was that? I heard a massive crunch.
him once again. They are closing in on Alex Daly a little bit as well as he continues in 10th place. Wayne Walker in the Walker Racing car, closing in on Hayden Darrett as well now in for 5th position. Within a second, we know how quick he is, so he is getting right onto the back now and will be fighting for a top 5 position sooner rather than later. Chris McLennan still just about holding on to the back of Daniel Optisano as well for 3rd position, so that fight not over yet, but you can see how close everyone is getting. As you can see in the background, Wayne Walker is closing in on Optisano, so top 3 is definitely on for these two guys here.
Well, he still has to overtake Hayden Darrett. Of course, he's been quite pacey this evening and in the previous round also. And as I say that, he goes completely sideways into the penultimate corner at turn 11. And Wayne Walker now in striking distance, looking down the inside. He goes for it. Purple Mustang is certainly alongside, and he's got a slight edge, both powering down on the start-finish straight. And I think he would have cleared him, still slightly side by side, but Walker's got the extra ponies going down the straight. Slightly better exit on that final corner.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that Hayden Darrett could really do about that one. Wayne Walker saw the opportunity, put the car there, and just said, "Thank you very much. I will go into 6th position now." So he's going to start working his way towards Chris McLennan, I think Wayne Walker just taking his time to pick his way through the pack here. He's quicker overall than Daniel Optisano in 3rd position. In terms of best lap times, Stephen White still holds the best lap in 1st position. He's still about 3.5 seconds ahead. But yeah, Wayne Walker doing a fantastic job, showing us why he is the champion so far, and working through. So we see just one car. I think that was Peter Foster getting out of the way. He is pulling for the side of the circuit. Actually, what's going on there with Peter?
I'm not too sure. We don't have an onboard camera, unfortunately, for Peter Foster, so I can't answer that question and see what's going on inside the cockpit in the real world. But yeah, very strange. The car stationary still on the side of the road, back moving again now. So maybe a wheel reset. That's not unheard of in the world of sim racing.
Yeah, he's back underway. So yeah, no idea what was causing that, but yeah, it looks like he's going.
He's back underway now, and
maybe yeah, as you said, maybe some hardware issues. Maybe it's more terminal issue than we thought affecting him there. So keep an eye on that as he continues. Or someone else that's also in a Peter Spearing. I'm not sure if that's a scheduled stop or if he's had some damage. Not entirely sure why that would be a scheduled stop, because we are not at the pit stop window yet. We're only about 20 minutes into this race. Saying that, actually, no, we're getting to the point.
Getting there, yeah. So we expect them to be doing anywhere between 20 to 25 minutes of running. Wayne Walker coming into pit lane now. So first of the scheduled stops. We are expecting 3 stops for this particular round in order to get to the checkered flag. And we also have Hayden Darrett in pits, as is our leader Stephen White. So yeah, first round of pit stops fully underway. Scheduled stops in progress.
Yeah, so we're seeing Optisano and Craig Broadbent going a bit longer, Chris McLennan as well. So we'll see how powerful either the undercut or the overcut can be here. Long stops as fuel goes in, tyres changed. Stephen White back underway. He's going to join possibly 10th, yeah, maybe 11th. But obviously everyone around him yet to make their stops. Stephen White back on track. He is just behind Bradley Martin. That's not ideal for him. He would have hoped to have a little bit more clear track than this. Wayne Walker also back on the road in P12. So he's got quite the gap there, about 12 seconds, 11 to 12 seconds or so. Craig Broadbent in the pits as well now, so one stop longer did Craig Broadbent go there. and Oppisano in as well, Chris McLennan, so the top 3 all in as well. So we'll see where Stephen White can come out when the undercut or the overcut is a little bit better. See how that develops as everyone starts to make their pit stops.
Yeah, Craig Broadbent is technically in the lead at the moment. Of course, Oppisano had that slight gap as he started further back in the field. So whether or not, I'm expecting Stephen White to get ahead ever so slightly of Craig Broadbent, but he did an amazing undercut at the previous round. So whether or not he's playing the tactical game and trying to go a bit later for the first few stops and then have a very short final stop, we'll have to wait and see. But that was a really good move last time at Hidden Valley, so keep an eye on this man. He's definitely one of the tactics.
Yeah, Stephen White does retake the lead, and Craig Broadbent in 3rd position. Wayne Walker's managed to jump everybody. He's in 4th. How on earth has that happened?
It's that 3rd stop, isn't it? I reckon it's going to be a splash and dash in the final stop at least. So it all depends on whether or not if you want to do your splash and dash in the first stop and then have 2 full service at the end or not. So he's obviously playing a bit of games here and thinking tactically himself. And yeah, I'm sure that's a shock to Craig Broadbent as well.
Yeah, so Steve Dunn is, I think, the last one to make a pit stop. Yeah, he is currently leading the race. Got Stephen White right behind him. But I'm assuming he will be coming into the pit shortly. Yep, there he goes into the pits, and Stephen White retakes the lead of the race on lap 23 now, or lap 22, I should say.
I think most people have come into pit lane now, if I'm not mistaken. We've got a few still in there as we speak. We've got Steve Dunn inside the pits, as is John Wade.
Biggest loser out of that situation, Daniel Oppisano. He went from 3rd position down to 6th, so he was jumped by Wayne Walker, Hayden Darragh and Chris McLennan, so maybe a small mistake coming into pit lane possibly that we didn't see. Lost him some time, so terrible result for him in the first round of pit stops, but he's got plenty of time to get that back. Just over an hour left of racing here at Townsville.
Yeah, got a fight for 9th place. You've got Matt Ogg, Alex Kidas fighting for P9. So Alex still in there. So he's found his way back into the top 10, despite his earlier woes. And of course, they'll have a fresh set of tyres now to play with and bring those back up to temperature. So let's see what he can do. Matt Ogg is doing fairly well himself. I believe he's gained a few positions since qualifying. In fact, yeah, he has actually made up a few positions, up by 7 places. So a really good race for him so far.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job in 9th position now. I'm not too sure we often see Mark in the top 10, so he's doing a brilliant job here, but he does have some pressure from Alex Kidas and Alex Daly as well. As we see, actually, Alex Kidas still doesn't quite seem to have the pace. Maybe that damage still there that's harming him slightly. That's put Alex Daly in the Blacklist Motorsport Holden right on the tail of the Blue Mustang now, coming through into turn 2. Not pretty close enough to make a move yet, but yeah, definitely able to close in as I think Kidas struggles to put the power down on exit. On this battle as they continue. Yeah, Matt just able to start running away with the with that position now. Once again, Kidas getting all over the place coming off. I think it's the curbs effect. I'm not sure if that Mustang, maybe with the damage it's got, I don't think it can react to these high curbs as well as the other cars around him. So even getting on the power, I think there's something a bit more going on that we can't see under the bonnet of that Mustang.
Yeah, because of course he had a great qualifying, so it's a bit strange that would be causing him problems now, and he just can't seem to find the pace. You know, I mean, Matt Ogg is pulling away, and he started 7 places behind. Wasn't in the top 10 shootouts at all. So, you know, Matt Ogg finding the pace at this stage of the race, but yeah, certainly some issues there inside that blue Mustang.
Looking back up the order as well, Chris McLennan and Hayden Darrow about a second behind each other. So they are continuing on pretty well at the moment. Wayne Walker's starting to close in on Craig Broadbent. He's only about 1.5 seconds behind him now, coming on to lap 25. So yeah, Wayne Walker, he's managed to get the best out of those pit stops. It seems jumped 2 people in the pit lane. So the undercut definitely working out for him there. But yeah, there's still ways to go in the race for him to catch back up. Stephen White seems to be very strong. The start of the stint, he's pulled out a gap of 6.5 seconds nearly to Craig Broadbent. But the fastest lap now belongs to Wayne Walker, 1:08.538. So yeah, there's definitely some pace in the pink Mustang as usual, and he's going to be a threat towards the end of the race.
Just touching on the Stephen White situation, he was actually 7 seconds ahead coming out of that pit stop. So whether that's a fuel thing, or you know, maybe a slight issue coming into pit lane for Craig there that cost him that time, but the gap is actually coming down. It was 7.5 seconds and now it's 5.6. So yeah, so 109.4 for Stephen White coming across last time. It was a 109.2 for Craig Broadbent, so ever so slightly lap by lap it's getting sliced off. But yeah, Wayne's certainly a stronger of the two, or the three, sorry, my apologies, with a 109.1. So it's all slightly coming together up at the top.
He is meeting some traffic, is Craig Broadbent. He's just got round both the old school racing cars of John Wade and Ashton Kutcher. So that's possibly holding up a little bit, just working through some of the lap traffic. But yeah, as you said, the pace, they are coming. The gap is coming down. Another gap's coming down is Chris McLennan to Hayden Darrow. That's about half a second now. These guys are really going to start fighting.
Yeah, I'm just on board with Craig Broadbent. Finally, the Penrite car gets out of the way. Broadbent goes on through, but now Wayne Walker 0.4 seconds behind. That cost him a lot of time. Shouldn't have taken that long to yield into that corner, really, and that's a shame. But coming across the start finishing line now, new times on the board. It's 109.3 for Stephen White. It's 110.1 for Craig Broadbent. Yeah, blue flags causing a few issues there.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is all playing right into the hands of the championship leader now. In the Race Tech Steel Racing Mustang, closing in on Craig Broadbent. He's going to be on top of him within the next couple of laps, it seems. Maybe we'll see another nice easy move through the final corner. That seems to be a good one for Wayne Walker. But we'll see how this fight develops, and this is just working into the hands of Stephen White as he pulls more of a gap as he clears the lap traffic.
Yeah, now back up to 6.6 seconds as a result of that blue flag tracking. I mean, it's got to be a bit of luck, hasn't it? But you've got to know, when blue flags are out, you've got to pick a place you're going to let them pass, and you've got to make your intentions clear. But you know that cost Craig Broadbent at least a second there, and that's a second he's not going to get back in a race like this. You know, it's so tight up the top, and with championship points on the line. So you know, I feel a bit sorry for him in that sense, not picking sides or anything. But
sorry to cut across you there, Matt. Alex Kidas, he's had a big moment. I think turn 2, he has lost his front splitter. So I saw him dropping down the field. I had a look at his camera. Yeah, he has got some big damage on the front of that car. So his race goes from kind of okay to pretty bad now, as he has to pit for an unscheduled stop to fix that damage.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, he's not exactly taking it easy. I mean, if I had front end damage like that, you're not going to have any grip on those front tyres anymore. Aero package isn't doing its job because it's not there. But he's still kind of flying around the circuit and trying to get back to pit lane at a pace. And we're just going back to this battle for second place. Wayne Walker now 0.6 seconds. A bit more traffic in the form of Ashley Kutcher in the number 8. He's in 16th place, so again, blue flags will be out. And he yields on the outside, even goes onto the grass. He wants to get out of the way that quick. That's what you want to see, though, isn't it? Just, blue flags, I'll get out of the way, you guys carry on.
Yeah, absolutely. Not in the same fight. These guys, just towards the back of the field, and just running their own race at the moment. They are, I think, Ashley Kutcher and Alex Kidas to in 50th place now. Actually, he's made his pit stop, the ones that are a lap down. Yeah, that is it's widening the gap a little bit between these two cars. Craig Broadbent now about well, not that much further ahead, about half a second still, but he's got that little bit of a buffer now to Wayne Walker. So yeah, this once again playing into Stephen White's hands. He's gassed back up to 7.5 seconds now, so he is continuing on, and he doesn't have to worry about this for the time being.
Well, we've got two fights. Sorry to interrupt you there. We've got two fights going underway. Matt Ogg and Alex Daly, P9 up for grabs, and also you've got Peter Spearing occupying the space between, and right behind Justin Bryce and Paul Robinson are going tooth and nail as well. So just outside those top 10 positions, it's getting really feisty indeed. In fact, Matt Ogg gets past Alex Daly, who goes very deep into turns 2, braking in the Holden and going basically missing the apex completely. Matt Ogg into 9th, and of course we've got the battle for Craig Broadbent and Wayne Walker as well. So a lot of action unfolding at the same time here, and we've got to pick and choose what we're going to watch.
Yeah, Wayne Walker near enough tucked under the rear wing there, coming into turn 2 of Craig Broadbent. Broadbent doing a decent job of defending at the moment. He's not really giving opportunity for Wayne Walker to get any closer. And this is all just going to be hurting Wayne Walker's tyres, being this close to the back of another car for this long. You need to think, how much is Craig Broadbent pushing to keep Wayne Walker behind? How much of his tyres is he killing? How much fuel is he burning doing that as he nearly goes into the tyre barriers there? That was very close for Craig Broadbent. Yeah, how much is he having to push to keep Wayne Walker behind is my question. And I guess we'll find out when we come to the next round of stops in about 10 laps time.
Of course, it's worth noting how long their pit stops were. That will be a decision made tactically, fuel-wise, you know, on how much they're going to spread the load over those 3 stops to get to the checker flag. Craig Broadbent 109.6 last time by, which is slightly slower than Stephen White, so that gap is starting to extend. It currently sits at 6.7 seconds. Wayne Walker, with the luxury of the slipstream, is pretty much doing 109.6s as well. Of course, not able to find a way past Craig Broadbent at this moment in time, but yeah, he's certainly staying firmly attached to the rear end of that orange Mustang.
So one person I have not really seen make any moves so far is Daniel Patisano. He's still kind of there or thereabouts in 6th position, not really closing Chris McLennan. So I'm not sure if he's just reaching a kind of mid-stage of his race. As looking at it there, looks like one of the old-school racing cars has got some damage. That's
sorry,
actually...
Dave, I'm going to have to interrupt you there. Alex Daly, Matt Ogg going for it at the moment. Alex Daly got past Matt Ogg on the run down towards turn 2. The slipstream doing its job for that Holden, and gets into 9th place. That green Mustang not able to have an answer for him.
Yeah, Matt Ogg, though, still within top 10, so still pretty decent result for him so far. Not quite at the halfway mark of the race yet, but we are getting close. So he's doing a brilliant job to keep the car in the top half of the field. One thing to note as well, Peter Foster, who we saw parked at the side of the road earlier, he's managed to get back underway. He is in the pits at the moment once again, so I might have spoke too soon there. But he is still continuing for now as we go. I'd look back at the battle for 2nd place, getting quite dicey now.
Yeah, 2nd place now down to 0.3 seconds between Craig and Wayne at the moment. And of course, this is really important for Craig. If he wants to close the gap championship wise, then he needs to make sure he stays ahead of Wayne Walker. Here goes the move, yeah, down the inside into the penultimate corner. The Walker is certainly cleared him, actually, going into the last corner before the braking zone into the final apex, and Craig not able to provide an answer, wasn't able to keep his Mustang on the inside, and that is 2nd place there for Wayne Walker.
Yeah, I think Craig Broadbent kind of let that happen. I saw him back out just before the braking zone, tuck in behind Wayne Walker. Maybe he's just hoping he can start dragging him back towards Stephen White. So Stephen White will be looking at his relative now and thinking, oh God, no. as the very quick Wayne Walker starts to close in. But yeah, I had a feeling that was starting to be a little bit inevitable for Greg Broadbent. He just backed out, gave him the line, and is just going to hope to stay behind him, possibly save a little bit of fuel in the slipstream, go that little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's all about the tactics at this stage. You don't want to be fighting over positions too much. That's not the goal here. It's to spend as little time in the pit lane as possible and make sure you have the best performance while out on track. And when you finally go into for that final service, that's when it's crunch time. When you re-emerge and find yourself in whatever position you are, that's when you start to really push and fight for those positions.
Yeah, I did speak too soon for Peter Foster. Unfortunately, he has TNF now. So I'm sorry. Commentator's curse once again striking for Peter Foster in a clean skim racing car. But he is unfortunately out of the race. Alex Daly in the pits as well. I'm not sure if that was a scheduled stop or not. It seems a bit early to be a scheduled stop for me. But he is back underway. So maybe it was. Maybe it's a little bit of strategy developing here. And going to prove me wrong, Daniel Opisano is now closing in on Chris McLennan. He is just about 2 seconds back, so he's gained a second. Chris McLennan also...
got an overtake going on here. It's once again Matt Ogg and Paul Robinson down the inside into the second to last corner, turn 11. And it was a very nice move down. Was it hold them down the inside and claim the position?
I unfortunately just missed that because my internet is doing funny things again. But back to kind of fourth place battle. Hayden Dara is getting caught by Chris McLennan now. So maybe the tyres starting to go past their best now for the number 53 car. He's going to have two very quick drivers all over the back of him very shortly, especially Daniel Opisano, who's going to want to get a bit of retribution for his earlier transgression going through pits, whatever issues he may have had losing 3 positions. We'll keep an eye on that battle. Wayne Walker as well just started to reel in Stephen White now. It's starting to, that gap is starting to close, but keep an eye on this. Hayden Dara doing a fantastic job. I think this is his best result so far if he can continue with this, but obviously still a long way to go. Just over half the race left. Very sideways there. Look at him go. Fantastically held, but that's not the best way to look after the tyres there, Hayden.
Chris McLennan on board now with the Noble Host Mustang, and it looks very stable coming through the final set of corners now. And gap up to 0.7 seconds. Daniel Opisano is still shy of 1.3, so this three-way fight is certainly coming together.
So 35 laps into this race now, still watching Chris McLennan, I believe, as we go across the start-finish line. Gap just expanding a little bit after final corner, up to about 0.6 of a second. We'll just see where Chris seems to be stronger. A bit of a wider line going into the corner. That sets him up better on the exit. And Darren, that's saved him a little bit of time. But it looks like very sideways once again from the HG Racing Holden there. I think the tyres are starting to go off for Hayden a little bit. Maybe he's pushed a little bit too hard at the beginning of the stint. It's really starting to affect him now, but he's got to last maybe another 5 laps or so before he can pit. So we'll see how he defends this. But the more these two fight, the more Daniel Opisano can close in as well.
Yeah, Opisano now firmly in this fight, sub 1 second to Chris McLennan. So the slipstream will be now offered coming down the start-finish straight, and that's when he'll start to really close down this gap. 4th place up for grabs.
So here we go, we'll have a look at Chris McLennan here, coming down the start-finish straight. He's tucked right in the slipstream, coming into the braking zone for turn 2. Not going to be close enough to hit the marks there, but still within touching distance. So Is Chris McLennan fighting here? Is he thinking I'm just stick with this guy to get through? I mean, he is. Looks like Chris McLennan is starting to be held up a little bit. He doesn't want to get held up too much, otherwise Optizano's going to be all over the back of him. So he'll want to clear the HG Racing Holden as soon as he can.
Well, I think you just, in this situation, you just want clear racing ahead, and especially at this stage of the race, you've still got 45-ish minutes left. So it's all about just keeping that consistency going and make sure that you have nice, clear, open track to deal with. Of course, if you've got a slower car ahead, that's just going to allow the competition to catch up. Ooh, which is exactly what's happening. What a save there for Hayden Dara. I mean, Chris McLennan, nice avoidance there from Noble Host driver to avoid that, but yeah, that's 2 positions lost now. I think he's let that one go, to be honest. The tyre is certainly gone on the number 53 there.
Yeah, Optizano has just said thank you very much for that. Tucks it into the inside into the final corner, and that is him released to chase down Chris McLennan once again. But that was very nearly an accident between McLennan and Dara there. Good avoidance from both cars and a fantastic save from Dara. Alex Daly is just gone up a position, I believe. I think someone is in the pits. Yes, Sean Stafford in the pits. Might be my timing going a bit funny, so I'll ignore that for now. But yeah, back looking at Daniel Optizano. Good test of pace here is, test now is how quick is Chris McLennan in clean air. Doesn't have Hayden Dara with ailing tyres to worry about anymore. So can he start to pull a gap once again on the Championship Challenger and move ahead? Wayne Walker is into lead as Stephen White pits.
Yeah, we've got a nice four-way battle starting to unfold. Those questions will have to wait because we have Matt Ogg leading a four-way train. Craig Stoddard, Alex Kiedis, Justin Bryce, all within 0.4 seconds. Oh, Alex Kiedis around, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very big accident there into the barriers. That's surely going to be some suspension damage for Kiedis there. I just caught that as...
I feel as though we're not helping Alex and his case here this afternoon. It's every time we seem to mention the guy, he seems to have a moment of some sort. Whether or not that's just bad luck or we're giving him the curse, as you say, is yet to be revealed. But yeah, he's certainly not having a good afternoon, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think we should probably leave Alex alone for a few minutes. Every time we look at it, something bad goes wrong for him, bless him. So, yeah, Stephen White back in the race now. He is... again, caught behind some traffic on the lap. He is stuck behind. Yeah,
we've got a four-way fight. So you've got Craig Stoddard, Justin Bryce, 0.3 seconds. And then you've got Bradley Martin and Peter Spearing. And not too sure where is Stephen White reappeared. He's behind this fighting pair at the moment. Bradley Martin. Oh, Bradley Martin's off as well. So those tyres really starting to have a few issues for some of the drivers, and he is off the race course into the tyre wall. Slight damage to the front left of that Mustang. He's reversing out now. Get a nice view of the sponsorship of the track there, which is always nice for the companies. But back up to speed now, and lost a few positions. Hayden Dara in the background, he's rejoined the race. He's currently still sitting in P9 after his stop, and starting to go through, just about misses the tyre walls as Bradley Martin, but manages to continue on his way.
And Wayne Walker into the pit as well. Stephen White's managed to get back around him, but not that by far. Only a few seconds separating those two cars coming out of the pits. Craig Broadbent managed to go a lap longer than everybody, it seems.
This is what I'm telling you. Yeah, he stayed longer in the pits, didn't he? Because when he re-emerged, there was a 3-second extra gap between him and Stephen White. This is where the tactical side will start to play out as we get into the second phase of this race. It's really exciting for myself. I love all this tactical stuff. It's really geeky and nerdy, and I love it.
Craig Broadbent and Chris McLennan and Optizano once again in the pits to do their stops all at the same time. We'll see where everyone comes out. We've got Stephen White, who is coming through the penultimate corner now. Wayne Walker not too far behind him, only about 5 seconds now. So he's managed to maintain the gap at the pit stop and possibly gain a little bit because he didn't have to deal with any traffic coming out of the pit lane. So Stephen White retaking the lead as I think I saw someone possibly go. Nope, there was just one of the old school racer cars getting out of the way of Wayne Walker, which is nice to see. Craig Broadbent rejoined the race in third. Chris McLennan coming back out of the pits as well, and so is Daniel Pisano. So they stay as they are for the time being. Yeah, oh, and Hayden Darrett jumped. Oh, he's jumped off Pisano, and is he going to get... He's got Chris McLennan as well. Fantastic. So that's a bit of a turnaround for Hayden now on the fresh tyres. He has he's got the undercut there and got ahead of those two cars once again.
Yeah, I think he needed to come in early because those tyres just weren't agreeing at that stage of the race. He needed to get some fresh rubber on, and you know, with the other guys struggling as well, everyone's in the same boat with these things, and it seems to have paid off for him. He now finds himself in 4th place. Just touching on the top as well, Stephen White retains the lead once the dust settles. Gap now 5 seconds to Wayne Walker, and then Craig Broadbent a further 6 seconds behind Wayne, that is. So yeah, not the best stop for Craig. I think he would have preferred to be a bit closer, but again, we don't know the finite details of their tactical approach to this race, so we'll soon find out in the next and final stop whether or not it's going to pay off.
Yeah, that's going to be the most important stop for these guys now. One thing on Hayden Darrett, he has to be careful that what has happened in the last, it doesn't really happen again. Obviously, he can pull away or at least maintain a position on fresh tyres if he's pushing, it seems. But yeah, he doesn't want to use all of the tyre life in the beginning of the stint.
He made a massive issue going into turn 2. Yeah, that is a big lockup. Well, in fact, sorry, it wasn't even a lockup, but it's just overcooking the entry completely. And yeah, now Chris McLennan, that hard work, that overcut is all undone, and he now finds himself in a bit of a sandwich. Opposano behind, McLennan ahead, and it's going to be a tough one now.
Yeah, Opposano once again in that pit stop round, not getting the best of deals. He's lost one position in that because of the undercut from Hayden Darrett, and yeah, he's not having the best of races. Is Opposano here? We would have wanted to be much closer to the front, fighting with his championship rival, who is now 4 seconds away from the lead car. So yeah, I have a feeling Opposano may come away from this race a little bit downhearted slightly. I think he probably would have wanted something a little bit better, providing nothing happens in the rest of the races. One of the old school racing cars is backward on the front straight.
Yeah, I'm not too sure which that one that was. It's not Ashley Cutchy, so John. He's still going. Yeah, John Wade, but he seems to be back underway now, so that's it's not the end of the world. He's sadly running in 20th.
Oh, Opposano on the inside of Hayden Darrett into turn 2. He's going to get that move done. They're still side by side. Hayden Darrett's got the line and got the position once again coming into turn 3. So I just caught that one happening. Sorry to interrupt you, Matt, but yeah, he's managed to hold on to the position for the time being as Hayden Darrett.
I'll just add it to my list of rude moments by David Buckley. But no, yeah, interrupt me by all means if it's a battle for position, which it was. Still, Hayden Darrett holding on to that position though, so it's still P5 up for grabs. He's coming back at him though, down the inside into sector 3, both side by side, and Daniel just gets that slight better speed coming through that apex before coming in and slowing things down for turns 11. That is a position taken. Hayden Darrett now P6.
Did Hayden get a bad exit out of there? Because the closing speed was absolutely phenomenal for Daniel Opposano there. It's almost like they're in a different class of car. Maybe Hayden Darrett not getting the best of exits out of sector 2, but yeah, that's what Opposano would have wanted to eat quickly through the.
I heard a massive crunch coming into turn 2. We've had another retirement, Sean Stafford.
Ashley Cutchy is.
Yeah, it's Ashley Cutchy this time, so both these cars running into problems now.
Sean Stafford out of the race as well. He's just retired. Yeah. What happened there? I'm just going to quickly go back and look what happened to Sean Stafford, so we can see. I think he just came in to do his pit stop and retired the car. Oh no, he was off. Bear with me 2 seconds.
No worries. While we're waiting for Dave to investigate that, we're on board with Justin Bryce. He's doing a good fight with Alex Daly. Matt Ogg also in the mix with Paul Robinson. This is for 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th respectively. So all the way through the midfield we've got battles unfolding, which is awesome stuff. Nice setup there on board with Justin Bryce with the VR headset. Must be quite intimidating going around a street circuit, that's for sure. Ahead of him on camera is Stephen White. He's sort of constantly pulling away. That is a blue flag situation. So Stephen White going through the traffic now. Wayne Walker will have that to do in a short moment's time as Justin Bryce hits the inside curb on the exit of the second sector. That would have not been a good experience. I'm sure slight code brown there, but manages to hold it together and not lose the position in the progress.
So I'm not sure what happened with Sean Stappen. It just seems like he made a mistake and just decided to call it quits, possibly. But actually cut you also out of the race as well, unfortunately. I think that would probably end up from being the crash, what we heard.
Yes.
But yeah, unfortunate that we've lost a couple more cars. The rate of attrition is starting to take effect when we are just under an hour into this race. So we're into kind of unknown territory now for this season. No one's so far, unless they're obviously doing different series, have run this long in these cars this season yet. So yeah, it'll be a period of discovery for some guys, I am sure.
John Wade also retiring, so that's both Ashley Cutchy and John Wade out. He was limping into pits. Not too sure if he blew up his engine or had a malfunction of some sort, but just stopped short of the pit entry line, retired out of the race. So quite a few retirees in the last few minutes, 3 in fact out of 5. So that's a bad day for that particular team.
Interestingly enough, Opposano not able to really close in on Chris McLennan yet. In fact, if anything, the gap has increased. I mean, there is some lap traffic between them, which is probably causing some issues, but Opposano just doesn't seem to have the race pace that the guys ahead of him do, which is very strange to see for this car.
Yeah, Chris McLennan was 1/10 faster over the start-finish line. And bearing in mind as well, we're starting to get a few bits of traffic come into play as well with these lap times. But yeah, Chris McLennan, as you say, slowly but surely pulling away in that 4th position, which is exactly what he needs to do at this moment in time. Start applying a bit of pressure and a bit of pace and pulling away and make sure that he secures that spot.
Speaking of applying pressure, within 2 seconds now is Wayne Walker to Stephen White. That was a good segue, wasn't it?
It was amazing. I love the link up.
So the battle for the lead definitely is on now. So Wayne Walker is being consistently faster than the White Dog Racing car, who has had a nice kind of easy experience up until this point. Just kind of ran away with the lead at the beginning from Craig Broadbent, but he's got a lot. He's going to have a big pink Mustang filling his mirrors within the next couple of laps. Yeah,
I mean, also touching on 3rd place, Craig Broadbent, he seems to be falling away quite substantially. So last lap was a 1:10.3. So whether or not that's traffic induced or not, but that gap has increased by at least 4 to 5 seconds since the last time we looked. So he seems to be slowly moving away from this fight for the lead of the race, which is a shame. But we'll have to wait and see what comes of that. Chris McLennan, in the meantime, yeah, now he's lost a bit of time to Daniel Opposano. He's back within under 2 seconds once again. So his last lap times, yeah, it was 109.6 for McLennan, 109.1 for Opposano. So maybe a few issues and starting to find that pace again. Yeah, there's a little bit more traffic coming as well for Chris McLennan as well, in the form of I think that's Steve Dunn ahead. So he's going to have a little bit of work to keep Opposano behind as the pace continues to kind of ramp up. Maybe Opposano is just a little bit better in the second half of the stint, but we're just under an hour into just under an hour into this race now. We've flown past the halfway point, and yeah, battle for the lead is getting even hotter. 1.3 seconds over the line now between the two. Give it 2 laps, and Wayne Walker will be right on top of Stephen White here. It's been incredible to watch Wayne once again. You know, he started in 10th place, or sorry, 9th place it was, wasn't it? In the top 10 shootout. Wasn't expecting him to fight through so quickly to where he is now as we reach almost the final closing stages of this 90-minute race. Of course, 2/3 now completed with 32 minutes remaining. But yeah, he's up into 2nd place now. He's got 1 more stop to go. Whether or not that's going to be a long stop or a short stop, who knows? But we're fast approaching the final pit window, and it'll be interesting to see who makes what kind of move.
Yeah, absolutely. The laps just tumble by around this circuit, just over a minute in length. Yeah, these particular cars very quick around this circuit, beating the real life kind of lap record from GT3 cars. But we'll just put that down to the drivers being absolutely incredible in these cars. We'll say that.
Monster.
But yeah, these two just been kind of a different class than the others, really. I mean, 13.5 seconds back to Craig Broadbent, the top two. I mean, I would be extremely happy with Steve if I was Steve White with my performance in this. He's done a fantastic job of kind of controlling the race up until this point. As he goes a bit wide there, I should stop. I should just stop speaking about anybody in this race, because I am just causing all sorts of issues.
Yeah, I'm just having a little look at McLennan and Opposano at the moment. They're starting to close together. It was at least 0.6 seconds last time by faster for Opposano, so that gap is certainly coming back down again. He's within slipstream, 0.8 seconds between the two. We could see a fight for fourth before the next round and the final pit stop emerges. Having said that though, we have Wayne Walker now within sub 1 second to Stephen White, the leader. That's again at 0.8 seconds, so things are starting to get feisty.
Yeah, very feisty indeed. Have a look at the lap times here. We'll see how much quicker Wayne Walker is. 1 minute 9.8 was the last lap for Stephen White. We did see him go a little bit wide on one corner, 1 minute 9.2. So, yeah, a good 0.6 of a second quicker. And look how close he is coming into turn 2 there, using all of the track possible. Is Wayne Walker on the exit, and he is well within striking distance here. Now, if you're Wayne Walker in this situation, what do you do? Do you fight and get the position as quickly as you can and try running away, or do you work tactically? Do you back off a little bit, save the tyres, save a bit of fuel, and try and get the overcut on the final stop, and just give yourself a little bit of extra wiggle room towards the end of the race?
I mean, I think it's all about that final stop. We've seen how easily the soft compound tyres fall off with these V8s, and it's the only one that they can use. There's no real tactical options when it comes to that, so you've really got to look after them. I mean, I'll be thinking about that final sprint to the finish. That's where the pace is going to really matter in this race. You know, you can save fuel behind Stephen White right now, but you're going to be eating into the life of the tyres. So I would maintain the gap as best I could without compromising my race pace. Try to get as short a stop as possible as far as fuel is concerned, and then at least when you come back out of pit lane that one last final time, you know that you've got the confidence to really push. And yeah, a bit of a love tap between the two leaders there. There was a bit of lap traffic coming on the left-hand side, and I think there was a slight misjudgment. Well, Walker just wanted to follow Stephen through, which he did, but maybe a slight minor bit of contact between the two. I don't think there'll be any damage from that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Wayne Walker's tyres starting to go up a little bit. On that last lap, it was very raggedy, sideways at all different moments. You were saying about being better with the tyres, and he was pretty much opposite lock coming out of the final corner. So yeah, maybe Wayne Walker's taking a little bit too much out of the tyres early in the stint to catch up to Stephen White. Look, there's just no back end to it right now, and he's dropped back to nearly a second behind. So yeah, maybe Wayne Walker's took a bit too much out of his tyres here. We'll see when we get some representative lap times after the traffic. But
sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt you there, Dave. Chris McLennan, Daniel Opposano really on top of one another now. That gap has come right down, 0.3 seconds between these two for fourth place. Craig Broadbent, in the meantime, is sitting tiny in between these two packs of cars. But we're now fast approaching the final pit stop window. There's 27 minutes remaining. I think you've got maybe another 5 minutes maximum before we see that final pit stop.
Yeah, looking at Opposano here, is not close enough coming into turn 2. You can see how much more kind of just willing on the brakes is Opposano. He is leaving absolutely nothing on the board. You can see how much more the car dips under the brakes as he stamps on the stop pedal. Chris McLennan just seems to be a little bit more reserved in the braking, and maybe a bit more controlled on the the deceleration as well. Sideways again is Opitano. The tyres starting to go off here, I think, for the chasing cars, as they've done their best to get back onto their respective targets. Yeah, this is all where the strategy starts to fall.
Sorry, a spin, well, half spin for the blue flag car. That was, I think, Paul Robinson coming into the penultimate corner. In fact, where's he gone? Oh, he's gone into pit lane, funny enough. So after some new rubber for his final stint, but I thought for a second there that the two fighting cars were going to arrive on scene and be caught up in something. But
now that's Alex Daly in the pits, and he's normally the first one to make the pit stop, so we might see some pit stops.
Sorry, Opitano down the inside into turn 2. The Holden started to snap right as it protested about the immense braking being applied to the fronts, and he had the nose of the car on the inside, but yeah, McLennan knew exactly how much braking room he had, and he got back into position again. Daniel not giving up though, he's coming back at him, very aggressive and switching left and right, trying to find the door to open, but Chris McLennan making that Mustang extremely wide.
Yeah, that is the widest Mustang I have seen for a while. Opitano's not able to find a way through, and you can see how much the tyres are just fighting him as he's sideways, four-wheel drifting everywhere. He's going to the inside, into the corner.
Ooh, a little love tap between the two of them. I mean, the car was at the inside.
Contact!
And into the final corner. So Daniel now claiming that position from Chris McLennan. And also, as soon as that battle has concluded, we skip to the front now. Stephen White and Wayne Walker, 0.4 seconds between these two before the final round of pit stops. This is crucial to the fight for victory here.
Yeah, we've seen that Wayne Walker in the beginning of the stint has the pace, and even at the end he's managed to claw that time back. But those tyres are screaming at Wayne Walker now. You can see how much energy he's having to put into keeping the car straight. Who's going to pit first? Normally Stephen White is the first one to pit, but is Wayne Walker have the tyre life to get that car through another lap and get an overcut in?
Yeah.
We'll wait and see. They're not pitting this time around, as Wayne Walker goes a little bit wide at the final corner.
That Mustang is dancing as he applies the throttle outside of these corners. Those tyres are pretty much on the edge of adhesion. I think they are on their way out, but he's still staying out. He wants to see who's going to commit first, and you know, it has to be said, I reckon Stephen's got the upper hand at the moment with as far as the tyre life is concerned. He can afford to go just a slight bit longer, and I think fuel will be the deciding factor about who commits to pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely. The Holden just looks like just a bit more stable coming through like the heavy braking zones and the high-speed corners. Wayne Walker's just having to, as you said, dance the car through. It's just going to make the tyres worse, and yeah, we'll just, as you said, it's going to be fuel that's the deciding factor on who blinks first. Maybe they're coming at the same time. We will see, but I don't think they're coming this time around.
Almost got a bit of a gap now. There's a bit of breathing room. Oh, a bit of a tap on the wall there from Wayne Walker as he comes down into the braking zone. Wouldn't have caused any damage, just ripping off the sponsorship or something in that regard. But yeah, it's a bit of an odd approach to that corner. I thought you would have been taking it easy at this stage, but staying out even further. 23 minutes to go, so we're going for the short stop here, Dave, with these two front running cars. They've obviously done their math with the fuel, and they want to have the shortest stop possible for that final time round.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, Wayne Walker just trying to get the power down on those tyres, which I think must be getting close to the canvas by now. Look how much just sideways movement there is. There's Stephen White taking up every single inch of track he can on the exit to maximise it. Coming through now the fast kind of middle sector with the launching curbs. Everyone looks pretty okay for the time being. Again, we need to wait and we need to see who's going to blink first and if anyone's going to pit this lap.
This is fantastic racing. Just touching on this between these two. You know, they've been at it for quite some time now. Here comes Wayne Walker into pits. He's going to blink first in the purple Mustang. Championship leader into pit lane. Will Stephen White respond the next time by, or is he going to continue to stay out? We'll have to wait and see. But that's interesting, considering he was the one following. You would have thought he was saving fuel in the process. Maybe the tyre life becoming a bit of too much of a factor here. Craig Broadbent staying out as well, so he's going long, and although the gap now is at least 14 seconds between Craig and Walker, the front running guys, so it'll be interesting to see what he's got up his sleeve, see if he can get back into this fight after that final pit stop.
Well, Craig Broadbent was able to run longer than everybody in the top half of the field in the last stop, so yeah, he's had a lot of clear air this time though, so he might not be able to do as much fuel saving. But yeah, Wayne Walker just he's trying to get the undercut. He's going to know he's going to have the tyre advantage for this outlap as Stephen White carries on. So that's what his goal is, to get that undercut. He's come out in a perfect area though. He's got no traffic in front of him, so all of that time he can gain now. He is free to do so. Watch Stephen White. Stephen White is in the pits now, so he's had to react to Wayne Walker coming into the pits. So this is crucial for the race now.
Yeah, so the leaders have blinked, as you say. They're both serving their final pit stop. Stephen White having a bit of a double stop there for his pit box. He's actually missed it. He's missed his pit box, Dave.
Oh no!
I can't believe it. This is the race win being decided by the final pit stop. He couldn't get the jacks to go up, and he's actually spent a good portion of his time stationary and reversing up back into pit lane. So that is a disastrous way to finish this race for Stephen White. Craig Broadbent joins him in pit lane for his final stop. Be interesting to see where he rejoins the race. But yeah, Wayne Walker now coming into the final set of corners, coming over the start finishing line as we speak, and Stephen White is nowhere. He's still stationary and only just gets moving now.
It's a disaster for Craig Broadbent as he came into the pits as well. He had Craig Stoddard in front of him. Stoddard stopping a lot earlier for the pit line, and he just ploughed into the back of Craig Stoddard, did Broadbent.
Yeah.
The rear wing off of Stoddard's car, so that could be a penalty incoming for Craig Broadbent if that's protested. But Stoddard back underway. He's got a rear wing, so they're able to quickly fix that, but we'll see how that develops. But yeah, absolute disaster for Stephen White there. He is about 16 seconds off Wayne Walker now, and that is pretty much going to be his race win out the window.
Yeah, we still have a few guys out on track. Daniel Oppisano, Chris McLennan still out in front. They've still yet to come in for their final stop, but I think that's a real shame to decide the race here. It's been fantastic start to finish. Wayne Walker and Stephen really pushing themselves to stay ahead of one another, and he's done everything right so far in this race. You know, he's kept Wayne Walker at bay. He's pushed that Holden to the exact pace that it needed at every moment so far, and to be decided by a pit window error, that is not the way that I wanted to see this conclude. But Wayne Walker will inherit the lead, of course. Craig Broadbent had issues of his own, and he finds himself at least 3 seconds shy of Stephen White. So this is important for Craig because, of course, third place in the standings. He will come home with some decent points, but he wants to be able to close on Daniel Oppisano. Wayne Walker is out of the question now after his issues himself, and will have to make sure that he basically minimises the impact and closes that second place down. So if I was Craig, I'll be pushing like mad, catch up to Stephen White, fight for that position, second place, and that's where I'd end my day.
Yeah, absolutely. And that gap is not very big at all, only 3 seconds as the top two cars come in, Oppisano and Chris McLennan, for their final stops. But yeah, that, as you said, that is what Craig Broadbent needs to worry about now, is getting the most out of this to bring him further up the order. As you said, very easy. It'd be pretty easy to catch up now. He pits in the same lap, so they're on same tyres, same fuel load, presumably. So we'll see how that develops in the final 17 minutes of this race. Wayne Walker retakes the lead after the pit stops are done, and yeah, look at the gap there. Stephen White 15 seconds back, so he lost an absolute load of time, but with those pit stop errors, very unfortunate. But that's just what happens. People make mistakes at the pit entry and coming into the box like that. I know I've done it many times before, so unfortunate for it to end that way, but we'll see how things develop. Daniel Oppisano has managed to get back out ahead of Chris McLennan, but only just.
Yeah,
they are really close.
0.4 seconds as they come back up to racing speed then. It's going to be crucial to get these tyres up to temperature in that operating window. We've got 16 minutes of racing still to go before the checkered flag is flown, and it's all on the table now.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the championship, this is not what Opisano needs. He needs to get as many points as he can to lessen the impact that it's going to have with Wayne Walker, providing Wayne Walker finishes as he is. Double points in this round, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, so every single position is going to really help with the championship, so you want to maximise your finishing position, and it's now it's
basically a sprint race, isn't it? That's what it is.
But a full sprint to the end.
Slipstream will be in effect for McLennan. 0.5 seconds coming down the start, finishing straight. You've got a bit of traffic. Is that Justin Bryce, I believe it is, in the 333. He's going to have a bit of company in a short moment of time. Make sure you get out of the way, Justin, because this is a fight you do not want to screw up for us. But yeah, Clean Racing leading ahead of the Noble Host Mustang. 0.4 seconds between them, and of course McLennan will have a slight advantage at this time due to the fact that Slipstream is going to save him fuel. Not that that's a factor anymore. In fact, I'll shut up because that's a load of rubbish, because he's got all the fuel he needs. He just basically needs to sprint to the finish. But nice clear traffic now. Justin Bryce getting out of the way, nice and easy for both drivers. And yeah, Chris McLennan now needs to find the extra 4 tenths, which he'll get an opportunity to do in just a moment when we go over the start-finish straight.
Now, someone not to count out here is Hayden Dara. He's still within that, just about outside of that top 4 fight. He's about 3 seconds off McLennan. So if they start to squabble and cause issues with each other, he could be there to pick up the pieces. So one to watch out for as this battle continues. Chris McLennan not quite getting close enough into turn 2, just about getting that Mustang stopped and not going into the back of Opisano there.
He'd gained a bit of time, to be honest, Dave. I mean, it was 0.4 seconds coming across start finish. It's now down to 0.3. Daniel Opisano getting a slight better exit coming into sector 2 now, but it was a gain of at least a tenth or two. Also worth noting as well, we've got Craig Broadbent, Stephen White. They've closed down massively. Craig's strategy, of course, was to save it all to the end, which he's done. We saw his lap times go from 109 to 110, and he was just waiting for that final pit stop, and now he's setting 108. So that's just a few tenths off the fastest lap of this evening. So Craig's really pushing now. Stephen White just 0.7 seconds up the road. So let's switch over to this fight as it is for the podium positions. We'll try our best to make sure we capture all of the action, because we've got 3 battles unfolding at the same time. Peter Spearing, Steve Dunn side by side into the final corner. Onto the grass goes Steve Dunn, and not able to take the position away from Peter Spearing. But actually, Peter Spearing coming into pit lane, very odd at this stage of the race. Anyway, back to Stephen White and Craig Broadbent. 0.5 seconds between these two, and still going strong, and unchanged as well for Opisano and McLennan at this time.
Yeah, Broadbent really starting to drag his car up to the back of Stephen White here. This has gone from a potential win for Stephen White to battling for the final step of the podium, so not gone the way he's wanted to at the end of the race, but 13 minutes of racing to go. There's probably going to be about, 13 laps to go in this race as well, so there's still plenty of opportunity for Broadbent to get that a little bit closer and get the move done.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in terms of points, we've already touched on this already. Stephen White, he's missed 2 of the 7 rounds, and still he sits in P5 in the standing. So really impressive stuff. He's taken home a lot of podiums and the odd victory as well. So he's definitely not someone you want to mess around with, and Craig Broadbent knows this. He knows that he's a quick guy, and he wants to be able to basically snatch that podium position at the latest opportunity to make sure he doesn't have an opportunity to come back and retaliate in any way, shape or form. And these points, I can't emphasize this enough. This is really important at this stage of the championship. This is the halfway point. We've only got a few more sprints, and then followed by several more endurance races, including Bathurst. That's when crunch time really happens. So every point here matters if he's going to put any form of challenge into Wayne Walker in his championship lead at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris McLennan is just dropping back a little bit now from Optisano. I think Optisano just taking a couple more laps to get the pace in and settle back into the rhythm. He's starting to build that gap up again to about a second, so keep an eye on that for the time being. But yeah, Craig Broadbent still right on the back of Stephen White within a second. Full slipstream going on here. I don't think they'll be close enough to make a move into turn 2, but I've noticed the slipstream here not as strong as it seems to have been at other places. I've not been able to see anybody just breeze past on that long start-finish straight. So maybe just not quite enough speed gained from the slipstream to just make that move in this race. So interesting to see.
I think it's a mix of the fact that you've got dirty air from the car ahead, so you're suffering a bit of understeer coming out the final corner. By the time the slipstream comes into effect, you know, whereas typically you'd gain a good solid 4 to 5 tenths on a straight like that anywhere else, you know, where it's so slow and you've got to accelerate out of the corner and the car's ahead, I reckon by the time you get to the other end you're only gaining about 0.2 seconds. So it's really crucial you maximize your exit speed coming into that final corner, and only then do you really find yourself in a good position to overtake into turn 2. But that's just my take from what I've been seeing this evening anyway.
Well, you've also got the kink, which is turn 1. I mean, yep. With as you said, the dirty air, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to take that as flat. So you've got to be careful coming through there, and you're pretty much through there and immediately into a braking zone. So yeah, it's not the best opportunity to gather all that slipstream and gather the speed, but it's certainly helping Craig Broadbent stick on to Stephen White here. He's the gap's not really coming down, but there is some lap traffic ahead, which is going to hold Stephen White up unless they get out of the way, which they do.
Yeah, it's always good to see blue flags being obeyed, you know, especially at this crunch time of the race. You've got 10 minutes left on the clock, so, you know, you don't want to be losing even a second to the rest of the competition. That could be the deciding factor when the racing is this close. So it's always nice to see people just getting out of the way. They know exactly where they are, where their race is. The only other time I think I would be slightly lenient towards blue flags is if they had a fight of their own on their hands, you know. Oh, actually, sorry, there was a bit of a mistake there from Stephen White. He went onto the grass at the exit of turn 11. Puffs of, grass being chucked up by that White Holden. And now Craig Broadbent in a really assailable position. 0.2 seconds behind. That's going to be plenty enough to make sure that slipstream comes into effect. Looking down the inside, here comes the orange Mustang. Looks down the inside, thinks better of it though. Not enough room to make it work. And powering down once again in towards sector 2. So thought about it, decided to wait for another time.
Yeah, it wasn't quite close enough on that opportunity, and wasn't quite confident enough on the brakes to make the move. Was Craig Broadbent, but yeah, that was just a small mistake which lost a lot of time. And Craig Broadbent going a little bit wide through one corner, he's lost a lot of time as well. So trading mistakes of these two drivers now. The fight's really on, the pressure's really ramping up. Less than 9 minutes of the race to go, so crunch time now. You've got to start planning your moves, making those moves and making them stick.
I mean, it's a real shame because if you look at where Wayne Walker is right now, he's 14 seconds ahead. They are gaining on the race leader right now. If it wasn't for that mistake inside pit lane, he could potentially be fighting for the win here. It's just those finite margins that decide these races, and it's a compliment to the series, to be honest, just to see how close these all are. You know, if it's decided by a small pit stop problem, then, you know, that's it for me. That's great racing as far as I'm concerned. Shame that it's ended this way, but, you know, they're so close all around. So, really good stuff.
Absolutely, and great respect shown in the wheel-to-wheel battle as well across the field. There's been a couple of times where mistakes seem to be a little, some contact seems a little bit unnecessary and some mistakes creep through, but yeah, the racing, so like throughout every single round that I've commentated on, has been absolutely astounding as Craig Broadbent makes a huge error. Too much curb, and he just about get out of the wall. I mean, maybe some suspension damage for Craig there after bouncing over the curbs and nearly rolling it, but well held to keep that away from the wall there, Craig. But that has put a stop to the charge for the time being.
I think that's one for the highlight reel. I think he should certainly contact the find out exactly how that happened, but those curbs, we've seen it already. They can cause the car to be sent up onto two wheels. That's definitely one of his 9 lives, that's for sure. I think he needs to have a breather for a small moment. But yeah, Stephen White now getting away. 3 seconds in total. The gap now with 7 minutes left.
Yeah, some very Australian expletives coming out of that car, I can imagine.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, he's got a little bit of time to gather up the pace, but he's dropped back quite a bit now from Stephen White. That battle seems to be over for the time being. The battle for 4th place seems to be resolved, as well as opposite now some lap traffic between him and Chris McLennan. Wayne Walker obviously is just in a race of his own once again. Feel it was slightly gifted to him, but that's what you've got to be. You've just got to be there to capitalise on errors and mishaps with other drivers, and that is always what he is there to do. He is there to capitalise and to use his pace to get himself to good position. So a fantastic recovery from P9 on the grid, dropping to P10 after the start and getting back up to a 14.5 second lead. That is once again I would say a dominant performance for Wayne Walker here.
Well, he just hasn't put a foot wrong, has he? He's the pit stop strategy has been spot on. He's timed it to perfection. Only on the odd occasion has he come back out in traffic situations. So, you know, he's just done everything correct and no errors, no mistakes. You've had a few issues with some back markers at times. That's cost him a few seconds here and there, but no more or less than what everyone else is suffering from. And you know, that's exactly what makes a champion, isn't it? It's consistency, it's making the right decisions at the right times. You know, he blinked first, and that seems to be the right decision you know, for his situation, because his tyres were starting to go. He knew exactly that was the case and decided that now's the time I should come into the pits, and it's worked out. I mean, he couldn't have known that Stephen was going to have issues in pit lane, of course, but you know, he's done everything that he needed to do, and it's just worked out for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And if like a really intelligent racer is Wayne Walker, you can always tell when he is fighting for position, when he is pushing, when he isn't. I think Stephen White's given him a fantastic run for his money in that early stage, and he still is. He's gaining time with Stephen White, but I can imagine Wayne Walker's not necessarily pushing at this stage of the race, just bringing it to the end. But yeah, looking a bit further down the field as well, fantastic result for Hayden Darrow. I think that's the furthest I've seen him up the field so far this season. So he's had a blinder of a race. He's had some good battles and some great saves. Brett Gooden as well. He's been up there as well. So
sorry, Dave, we have a fight on our hands at the moment. P13 and 14, all contact between the two. Unfortunately, it's Alex Kiedis went down the inside into turn 2. Peter Spearing went for the defensive move, but I'm not too sure if the nose was already there from the Blue Mustang. And of course, both being sent into spins as a result. It's quite a lucky escape considering the speed that they entered the corner in. Neither of them ended in the barrier. Just massive flat spots on all 4 corners of both of those cars, I reckon.
Yeah, unfortunately, Hayden Darrow got himself caught up in that incident as well. He just had nowhere to go as Kiedis was drifting across the track. But luckily, everyone able to carry on. But yeah, what a rotter of a day that Alex Kiedis has had. He had a good qualifying, but yeah, maybe there's some damage in the car that's causing him to fall back down. He seems to be really struggling with the curbs as well, even though he is attacking like they're not there. But yeah, what could have been for Kiedis, he's shown the pace, but yeah, not able to keep it on the road, I don't think.
Yeah, it's just been a bit of bad luck. I mean, I think it was that damage from battling early on in the race. I think that pretty much signed his story of woe for this evening, running into problem after problem, and of course then he lost his front wing in that second half. Oh, is Matt Ogg going spinning round? I think I just saw him doing a half spin into turn 11. Yeah, he's maintained it as we're following Wayne Walker. It's almost a slight half rotation. He's got Alex Daly for company in the closing stages. He's gaining on him 1.3 seconds at the moment.
Yeah, he's just had Wayne Walker go through those, so that's giving Matt Ogg a little bit of breathing room for the time being. But yeah, just over 2 minutes of the race to go, so I'm expecting 2 more laps possibly out of these out of Wayne Walker here and the rest of the field. Alex
Kiedis once again in turn 2 having problems. He's back up to racing speed now as he accelerates out the corner, but that was stationary for quite some time.
Yeah, Alex Daly got into the barriers trying to avoid pile driving the back of Wayne Walker as well, and he's getting sideways as well. Oh god, this is all going to pot on the last lap for the Alexes. But yeah, he's gathered it up, they're back up and running. And, yeah, I think that might be a fight with Matt, or possibly resolved now.
Yes.
Yeah, the attrition rate, it's been fairly high in this race. We've had 5 cars DNF. Mark Young at one point did DNF, but he's back in the race, but running 5 laps down. Yeah, there's been a fair amount of accidents. There's been some contacts, some mistakes, but overall, the quality of driving once again in this race has been absolutely fantastic. As Winmore crosses the line, he'll have 2 more laps to do, 1.5 minutes of the race to go. He's got a comfortable gap of 12.5 seconds to Stephen White. So all he's got to do is keep it on the road, and he will be in with win number 600 of this series.
Let me just double check that. It'll be his 9th win of the season. So he's on top, isn't he? Nobody seems to have an answer. There's some strong characters out there. Opposano had a good start to the season with a couple of victories. You've had Broadbent. He's been quite strong after a fairly unlucky start to the season himself. So, there's a lot of strong characters. Stephen White is always up top. Hayden Darrow seems to be coming into blossom as well. He was always in the top 5 now, it seems. And likes of Brett Gooden, they seem to be quite strong as well in the latter half, as is Chris McLennan for that matter. But no matter who you look to, it's just those extra 5 to 10% of performance that makes Wayne Walker come home victorious. He's just starting the last lap now, 25 seconds left for this evening.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure watching him race. He's it's so precise and controlled and intelligent and fast.
We say precise as he's doing drifts through turn 2, getting the power down. So
precise drifts. He's having fun now, isn't he? Look at him. Unless he's going for the fastest lap on the final lap, but he's already got that, so don't think there's any risk there. But yeah, it's been a fantastic recovery from P9 on the grid after his mistake in the top 10 shootout. He's going to take his 9th win of the season and further secure his place. Don't bin it now, Wayne. That would be so embarrassing. Don't bin it now.
He's enjoying himself, I think, as you say. He knows what the car can do. He's just having a bit of fun before he comes home victorious once again.
Even when he's having fun, it just seems to be just a cut above. He's doing fantastic. Look at that drift. Fantastic there. That's Wayne Walker coming across the line now to win here at Townsville, the first endurance event of the season, and 300 points is his to further secure his position at the top of the table. Takes home the fastest lap so far as well. We've got Stephen White now coming home to take second. Greg Broadbent really closed in on him in the final lap. What happened there?
I think that Stephen must have had an incident of some sort, because that was a bit strange. Maybe running out of fuel, perhaps.
Possibly.
But, Stephen White came across the line in second place, so extremely close margin. We'll have to ask him when he joins the commentary box as to why that came down so quickly. But Craig Broadbent coming home in 3rd. Here comes the celebratory donuts from everyone, of course, in Aussie style with these roaring V8s. It has to be done, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And Wayne Walker, I think he's been enjoying himself too much. The engine smoking there as he's doing burnouts. But so yeah, we were too busy watching Wayne Walker enjoy himself to see the fight for second place there. But yeah, Chris McLennan coming home in 5th place as well. Hayden Darragh, fantastic result of him in 6th position. Brett Gooden there just crossing the line in 7th. And then Paul Robson 8th, Justin Bright in 9th, and then Steve Dunn. That was a good result for Steve Dunn, taking the top 10th place there. So he finishes in the top 10. Good results all round for him as well. But yeah, what a brilliant race once again. It was full of all sorts of fantastic action, and just think once again, I love this league. They know how to drive. I'll give them that.
Yeah, well, definitely good racing indeed, and that pretty much concludes our event for this evening. So let's have a quick look at the results, shall we, Dave, if we've got a moment. If I can bring those out, and then I take it we'll wait for the winners to enter the commentary box. So yeah, the official results there for on the screen now, ladies and gents. Wayne Walker coming home in first place, another victory, another extension of his championship lead. Great fighting with Stephen White, went down up to the last pit stop. What a way to finish that. We'll have a few comments from Stephen and his thoughts about that final pit stop. I'm sure he's got a few words of wisdom. Craig Broadbent, again, great racing, great pace from the championship contender, and closes that gap to Daniel Opposano as he comes home in P4. Still a very good result considering his issues in the top 10 shootout. Chris McLennan in 5th, and then Hayden Dara in P6. Brett Gooden in P7, Paul Robinson in 8th, and then rounding out the top 10 we have Justin Bryce and Steve Dunn. Moving on to the second page, just outside the top 10, we have Alex Daly. He's been able to fight his way out, and Matt Ogg as well. He had a fantastic race, moving up several positions from qualifying. Peter Spearing in 13th, and then Craig Stoddard in 14th. Brady Martin in 15th, and then Alex Kidas, I think, having a bad evening altogether after getting into the top 10 shootout, but then sadly running into issues in the race itself. Mark Young also falling off quite substantially. He was in the top 10 shootout as well. We didn't actually see too much of him, so running into issues. And then unfortunately John Wade, Ashley Cutchy for the Old School Racing Team, both cars retiring, and then Sean Stafford retiring as well for Erebus in P20, and 21st and 22nd Peter Foster and Billy Ebenhauser for Java Sim Esports also retiring for this evening, Dave.
Yeah, well, we've got the podium sitters with us in the commentary box now. Wayne Walker, congratulations once again on another win, further solidifying your standing at the top of the table. It was not the best of starts for you, dropping from P9 to P10, but you really brought that back at the end there, and it was fantastic to watch. How did it go from your end?
Yeah, after the top 10 shootout, yeah, I really didn't know how the race was going to go, sort of back in the pack, but yeah, I slowly worked my way through, and you know, with good pit stops and everything, I was able to get right back up onto the back of Steve by the end of the second last stint. And then, yeah, I think he double stacked in the pits, and that gave me the lead. And yeah, it was probably one of my best drives, I think, coming from that far back and getting up for the win.
Well, it was certainly extremely entertaining watching you. The battle with Stephen White as well, absolutely fantastic to watch. Steve, congratulations on second place. Very nearly not second at the end there, as we saw, but it was pretty controlling race for yourself up until the kind of final pit stop. Unfortunate that you with the issues you had in the pit lane there, though.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. It was an interesting night with quali in the top 10 shootout, and it just goes to show that Wayne is human. He does make a mistake every blue moon, and you know, the race itself was pretty structured for me. I had a lap time I had to set to and adjust the roll bars and brake bias during the race, and everything was going smoothly. It was going to plan, and unfortunately, yeah, for that last stop there was a bit of double stacking that had to be done, and that's where either I lost the race or handed it to Wayne. I was really looking forward to it, actually, because I was looking forward to a great battle at the end, because I knew that it would be a good fight between us.
Yeah, it was the battle before the pit stops was brilliant to watch, and yeah, it was a shame that we wouldn't be able to see that. But congratulations on a podium once again. You had a good fight with Craig as well at the end. Craig, yeah, congratulations on your podium there. You seem to be getting back into the swing of things after your bad luck at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, it was a pretty lonely race for me for most of it, just trying to methodically get round the track without destroying the car, and yeah, White Dog pulled away at the start. I kind of wanted to let him go a little bit, but once Wayne caught me, I definitely let Wayne go. I wanted him to go and put some pressure on Steve. So yeah, that was looking like it was going to happen, but they were too quick for me. So I was happy with where I finished overall.
Yeah, so you got very close at the end there with you and Steve. We were too busy watching Wayne do drifts around the final lap to see the fight that you two had in the final lap, but I got really close at the end there.
Yeah, we got close. There was some lap traffic that we were coming up against, but yeah, I'd made a mistake before then and dropped about 4 seconds, and that was pretty much it. I was pretty sure Steve was just trying to keep me behind him by the end.
Yeah, we saw your mistake as well. That was well held. Thought that.
Mate, I thought I was gone for all money. I'm flicking the wheel around and trying to counter steer, and I can't believe I kept it straight.
I was looking in the rear view mirror, watching your like full opposite lock, and I thought, "Geez, are you going to save that?"
I think as we were saying, is that's definitely one of your 9 lives. I think you want to get checked out for that one. I think you have heart palpitations. The how high you went on that Mustang, but I think so. Very, very good indeed.
I was very lucky.
How did you guys find the Townsville? Of course, it's renowned for having a high risk, high risk, high reward kind of thing as far as pace is concerned. The curbs that we've seen, several cars go on 2 wheels. Was that something that you was wary of going around the race? If we'll start with Wayne first on that one, please.
I think, like in the top 10 shootout, when you've got a light car, it tends to upset the cars a bit more. But through the race, it wasn't too bad. I didn't get up on 2 wheels hardly at all. So in the race, it wasn't too bad.
And does it affect your tyre life that much as well? Because of course it's quite a brutal shunt, as far as hitting the curbs at that force and speed that we're travelling here. Does that affect the tyre wear on any side of things?
I don't think the curb itself affects the tyre wear, but it's more when you come off it and it sort of sends you sideways, and then you burn your tyres up if you do that too much.
And what about you, Stephen? Did you find having interesting moments this race that maybe we didn't capture on stream where you was attacking the curbs?
Yeah, no, it was pretty straightforward. I really enjoyed the Townsville race. I was lucky that my last race win in the real world there was in the V8 Utes, and I love the street circuit going into a permanent circuit, and also, with the curbs themselves, you got to be able to set the car up to use them, and so you either go soft or stiff and change them throughout the race to adjust, and it was it's good fun.
What about you, Craig? I mean, we already know what your feelings are towards the curbs, given what the moment that we saw at the end of the race. But in general, in terms of Townsville and your approach to it, the circuit itself, how do you find it?
Yeah, you just have to be careful when you're travelling over the curbs. You don't want to be fully loaded on the opposite tyre, because when the car's loaded up on one side and it hits the inside curb, then it can throw it over. So you want to be sort of straight on when you hit them. That was kind of how I was getting around there. I'm sure there's 100 different ways to get around them, though.
We're now, of course, I just want to touch on the rest of the season. We're now past the halfway point. Any thoughts going forward? We've got a lot more endurance races coming up. Do you prefer that kind of layout, the single race double points approach, or are you going to try and use this remaining sprints coming forward in order to try and put those points down on the board final, before we get to the conclusion?
I prefer sprints for sure. Endurances aren't my strong point, but yeah, just whatever comes, just do my best basically.
And Stephen?
I just like a mixture. It's great that the championship has progressive grid, it's got reverse grid, we've got some short races, some long races, and you can see throughout the season, when Craig has his strengths and Wayne has his strengths, and Daniel and other drivers as well that take part in being, at the pointy end of the field, and it's just great having a mixture. It just keeps everyone on their toes for the night, doesn't it?
Yeah, certainly. And we were saying that during the stream itself, how you guys are all so close. It's really enjoyable to watch. When you do go wheel to wheel, it's always respectable between all of you. If you even if there is contact, you let the other guy pass, and that's what everyone wants to see in sim racing. And it's such a high level as well, and the pace you guys are carrying. But Wayne, just touching on yourself going forward, you've dominated the first enduro of the season. is that a different mindset going forward? Do you prefer this style of approach to a race, or are you looking forward to the sprints more?
No, I prefer the enduros. Just having to have more of a strategy to sort of when you're going to pit. To be able to make it to the end on the least amount of pit stops, and having to look after your tyres as well. Over such a long stint, it's I enjoy that more than the sprints.
Yeah, well, you've only got a few more rounds left. You're in command of the championship. Is there anything else you want to add, Dave? Any questions you want to ask the guys?
No, it's more off how often are we going to see everyone in the final rounds? I know, Steve, you missed a couple, but are you hoping to stay with us for most of these rounds now?
Yeah, it will just come down to V8 Supercars. They're tight on budget, and so to have me there at certain events, it's tough. So we'll see what happens. I'd love to obviously participate in as many events as I can. I love being out with the boys. It's great racing against Wayne and Craig and Daniel and everyone that takes part. It's good listening to the banter that goes on before the sort of the night starts and going through setups, and it's good to see people like Brad and Chris and other guys getting closer to the front, and Hayden I think had a good night as well. So it's just good mates going racing on a Saturday night, and you got to give credit to DUS, to Justin and Chris for putting everything together to make tonight run smoothly, and without them it makes it terribly difficult.
All right, well, thank you very much, everyone. That's been, once again, a fantastic night of racing, and we look forward to seeing everyone in the next rounds. Next one being on the 30th of July at the Bear Motorsport Park. We're back to the sprint, and then we are back to enjoy us for the rest of it. So thank you once again to Podium finishers for coming to speak to us, and congratulations on your finishing positions, and thank you for giving us such an interesting race once again.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so anything you want to add before we sign off today, Dave?
No, just once again, it's been brilliant racing again from everyone. I've really enjoyed commentating on this one. I've had a couple off because of different reasons, but it's great to be back. Great to be just calling this once again. I really enjoy it every time. They put on such a brilliant show for everyone. So really looking forward to the next round.
Yeah, I think this has certainly been, as I say, it's been the first endurance race of the season, and they certainly didn't disappoint. It's always nice to have a different approach. We've had a lot of sprint racing, and it's always been spectacular watch, but a bit of a different mix thrown in, and that certainly has given us a different type of show, no less spectacular in any way. But that's going to be us for this evening. Again, thank you to our hosts, which is Noble Host and Servers Australia. If you do enjoy stable racing, I mean, again, we are connected to the server from the United Kingdom, and we've had a seamless experience, other than Dave, of course, because it's Dave and his internet sucks, but that's nothing to do with the server, that's just Dave in general. But it's stable as anything, and it's given us some great visuals, as you've just witnessed now. So if you do like that, go check them out. And of course, if you are interested in joining the series, I believe they've got a second championship that runs alongside this one, and you can check those out. All links in the description. But from us tonight here at CFS, we will wish you all good night.